Hello and welcome to the longest video I have ever made. I want to quickly talk about the structure of this video and some important topics before we just jump into it. So, first and foremost, on the bottom left, you will see the description of the clip you are currently watching. I hope this helps you understand what the glitch is in case you missed it, because some of these clips can fly by pretty quickly, so every single clip has a description. For some of the more obvious bugs, I may have written something random or tried to be funny and failed. I've seen other people do these kinds of videos, and I honestly think it's pure boredom. I cannot watch a 3-hour video of glitches, and I tried my best to make this as interesting as possible by inviting random people from the community and just having a chat with them like a Joe Rogan style experience, mostly talking about them, about their YouTube channel, about these bugs, about all kinds of topics. I really just want to learn some stuff about random people in the community today, so I'm really excited that this video has given me the opportunity to do that. So basically, the audio part of this video is a podcast with 3 different guests, so you can watch it in segments if you'd like. I love talking to people. I love learning about people's journeys, about, their YouTube channel, about what they did, what they're doing. So if that doesn't interest you, no problem. Just put this video on mute, put some music on, put on a Netflix show, it doesn't matter, and you can still enjoy the bugs if that's all you're interested in. Okay, so that is the structure of this video. Now, this was an absolute nightmare to put together. I've been working on it daily for the past month and a half. I said I wanted to give back as my channel continues to grow, so that's exactly what I'm doing here. All the money this video makes for the next year, I'm assuming that's when most of the views are going to be happening anyways, will be donated to a local charity in my community. If this video tanks, not a problem. I'll just donate out of my pocket, so it's not a big deal. I'm also not a good enough streamer to do like a 24-hour charity stream, and I don't really want to be asking people for money at this time to donate. I don't know what anyone's situation is. It's just not something I want to do. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just something I'm not particularly interested in doing. Okay, let's talk about these clips. So most of these clips I got from Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit. A big problem I ran into was giving proper credit to people that had posted these videos, but I tried my best. In the description, you will find a massive Excel sheet with links to every single clip, and I think I even have some bonus ones in there. The first 400 or so clips are not numbered because I did a terrible job of organizing this at the beginning, and I do apologize for that. I try to make it a little bit better towards the end, but it's not perfect. Another problem I have is not knowing where the original source came from, or if someone just took a video from YouTube and posted it on Twitter and claimed it as their own, so that's a massive problem. I don't know what the perfect solution is, but here's what I'm going to do. If you see one of your videos on here, just leave me a comment down below. Hey Nelly, number 27 is mine. Here's the link to it. And I will continuously update my Excel sheet. If you have something you want to promote, your Instagram, Twitter, whatever, your mom's knitting channel, it doesn't matter. Leave a comment and I'll add that as well to the list. I think it's the least I could do for using your clip. Many of these clips had very little views, and my only goal is to really shine a massive light on how ridiculously bugged this game is. Maybe a team of lawyers can use this footage in court to argue for people getting refunds for FIFA 20, but I wouldn't hold my breath. So all of these bugs are from now going all the way back to September, so it's only FIFA 20 bugs, which is absolutely insane if you ask me. So a lot of these things have not been patched, and many of the bugs have been in the game for years. I think that's mostly due to the engine, but who knows. I tried my best to weed out what I thought was just an unlucky bounce from an actual bug or glitch, but you can make some arguments for certain things just being unlucky, but I don't think you can make it from many of these clips. I may have some duplicates in here, like 2 of the exact same clip, because my brain was literally melting. It becomes extremely difficult when you get to such a high volume of clips to realize one from the other. So if you see some, let me know. I don't know what I can do. Maybe I can do something in post-edit to remove it, but it was extremely difficult for my brain to distinguish one clip from another when I have a catalog of over like 500 plus clips. This is not a 666 different bugs type of video. Although many of these are unique, there's definitely some similar bugs. I think I could easily make 1,000 different bugs video, but I just don't have the patience for it. Okay, lastly, I've been slacking on bonus content for channel members, and I really do apologize for that. I've been really busy with random stuff, and there's no excuse. I should be making bonus content because that's what I said I was going to do. But I'd like to give these people that have been channel members a small shout out. So Philip, Mikhailov, Savage Prime, Bryce, Xwater, thanks for being channel members. If you're interested in being a channel member, it's right next to the subscribe button. I'll also leave a link in the description. This month's channel member money will be going into this charity money that I talked about earlier. Okay, enough of this nonsense. Let's jump into our first guest. Has now begun. JCC, welcome to whatever the hell this is. Introduce yourself to the people that are watching this, the 30 people or so.
My name is JCC. I unfortunately make FIFA videos. and on pro clubs mainly. And I'm excited to be here.
You started out with COD though.
Yeah,
What was that about? Was it a COD channel originally?
my first ever video was COD, I think. But I used to upload FIFA right back in the day on pro clubs. I was like an OG. I started like on FIFA 12 uploading. I gained a couple of K subscribers, got like 4 or 5K, and then I just disappeared. And I'd upload like one video every like 6 months and be like, I'm back, and think that people would actually care. What is going on screen right now? Keely,
Yeah, yeah.
become the football.
So you're gonna see some stuff here today that I don't think you've ever seen before. I've literally gone through the tedious job of recording every glitch this game has to offer. So if you want to interrupt at any point to talk about one of these glitches that you haven't seen, or you're like, what the hell is this? We can definitely do
Yeah.
that. Look at that. Like, what is that? Do you celebrate when you do that? If I'm the other guy, I'm like, what? I'm quitting like that moment.
You're sure someone will probably shush and dab on you straight away.
Yeah, why is the FIFA community, considered the most toxic in gaming? What is it specifically do you think about FIFA that makes it so toxic?
I think football culture, like especially in the UK and stuff, is always a bit like that anyway. That combined with a terrible game that actually winds people up, just creates this community of hate. I think that's
Right.
kind of what it's all about. I mean, the pro clubs community, which is I make videos on pro clubs. Obviously, it's got a lot of great people, and then it's just got a lot of people that are just there to be toxic and bully people. And I try my best to call people out on it all the time. So like trying to embarrass people when they try and do it. But you know, the type of stuff where like obviously I'm not in any of these chats, but like taking photos of people in real life and like putting them in like photos of their sisters and all this that
Yeah, that's
constantly.
messed up. It's too
That's like
far.
the pro clubs community, because the pro clubs community is a sort of small FIFA community, but it's everybody knows everyone. You know what I mean? So you can imagine how grim that can be at times.
Right.
Why do you think it's so bad?
Oh man, I don't know. Like I'm trying to put it together, and like, there's no other game that I play. I've said this many times that makes me as angry as FIFA does. Like I played so many different games. I don't. Do you have a game that makes you as annoyed that as FIFA? I don't have anything else.
No, I don't think so. I mean, back in the day when I was a kid, I used to get annoyed at all games like COD and all that, but no, FIFA winds me up big time. I mean, I'm lucky enough that I haven't played Ultimate Team for years, and I stopped because yeah, awful game. Just did not enjoy it.
You went back to it recently,
Yeah, I did
and I
what I
saw
did.
that video.
Yeah,
You
I
look like you were enjoying yourself a little bit.
tell you something,
I'm
Nelly.
just...
I don't. I was so bored. I don't get it. Okay, I don't understand. Okay, the thing I went onto Ultimate Team to revisit it and see what it was all about, and I'm like, okay, I really like Cristiano Ronaldo. It's my favorite player in real life. How could I get him if I started playing Ultimate Team tomorrow? Now, without spending money, it would take me months to grind the game to get a player like Ronaldo, and his price has plummeted down to 600K. But then there's normal Ronaldo, there's a green Ronaldo, there's a black Ronaldo.
Right,
There's
there's like 20 different versions,
there's
yeah.
and now everyone's like orgasming over a blue Ronaldo, and it's just a bit like, what are we doing? Like, why? How do people not see through this? I just don't understand how people get onto like hating this game so much and looking at what we're looking at on screen and publicly slating it and saying how bad it is, and then going, "Oh, but a blue Ronaldo's come out. Let me just go and spend all my
Right.
money trying to get that." It's honestly baffling to me. I can never understand.
Do you know why it is? I mean, this is a big thing. You gotta always consider, what is someone doing? Like, what is their like reason for doing something? Like, if you have a guy that's doing like trading, does he really care that much about gameplay? No, he just cares about getting the most trade profit. If you have a guy that has a profitable whatever Patreon that's killing it, making like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 bucks a month, does he really care that much about gameplay? I don't know. For me, it's like I've stopped playing this game because like I just don't enjoy it. If it's not fun, why do I continue? Like, I'm very fortunate to found like these videos that I can make that don't involve gameplay, and I could just be kind of make jokes and be funny and random and talk about stuff that I think a lot of people are afraid to talk about.
I think one big point as well is for people like us who try to bring up this issue like of how bad this game is, the average player may not know until it's kind of shown to them how addictive hacks are, how toxic this game is. And then once they see it, I mean, my comments on recent videos I've done against FIFA and against Ultimate Team, so many people like, oh my god, this video has made it so clear to me now. Like I'm never
Yes.
and I think I don't necessarily blame the content creators, you know, all of the big FIFA guys who open the packs, they get excited, it's their thing. A lot of them probably don't actually give a crap. I'm sorry, spoiler alert to
Yeah.
anybody.
Right.
They don't actually care if they pack a blue card when they have like 16 million and they've made like 5k off of that stream alone. Like it doesn't matter to them what they pack. But to
You
the
know,
to the no, I can
man,
see
sorry,
why.
man, interrupt. Just
Oh,
I
go,
have to,
yeah.
I have to counter. I have to counter right here. Here's the thing that does annoy me a little bit about that is like these guys have millions. They could do anything, and not only can they do anything, they've successfully done other things, and yet they continue to fuel this pack machine. That's what kind of bothers me. I understand. Yeah, everyone's got to make money. If I could put $1 million in the bank, my parents retire, I would do it 100%. Right, but I don't know. Like, why do these guys still do it even after they have like millions in the bank and they can literally do anything?
So I don't know. I don't honestly watch these people. This is not me like as a YouTuber trying to cop out and not offend anyone. I really don't care. I don't watch like any Ultimate Team content. I don't watch Ultimate Team streamers, so I don't know. The one big point that I've always made is if these guys are doing it, all I'd want to see is for them to say a couple of times a stream, please don't do what I'm doing. Please don't spend this money. The odds of you getting these players are not likely. Even a disclaimer on screen. For me, that would be the ethical thing to do to say, look, I spend because I make a lot of money and it's my job. But you guys should not go and watch this. And I open these packs so you guys don't have to, sort of thing. As far as I know, and I might be speaking out of term, I don't know. I don't know if anybody does that. But that's what I would want to see from our community. I'd want to see these people. You know, I'd want to see the big streamers come out and say, "Listen, don't do this. It's pointless. You're not the like chances of you packing these players is small. I'm spending 10 grand today because I can."
Right.
Shouldn't, and I don't see that.
There's a morality thing, right? Like, do you have some sort of like, do you feel at all morally obligated to tell people or try to convince people not to spend money on a game, or try to convince at least kids not to like
Yeah.
gamble their money away, right?
That's it. That's it. For sure, man. And that's why it's so important that loot crates get some sort of legislation put on them because it's totally unethical right now.
Right. I think it's coming. All right. So back to you as a creator. The first couple of years, you uploaded very infrequently, right? Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
What
yeah.
what was the goal of, I guess, starting a YouTube channel? What did you have a bigger picture in mind, or did you just enjoy making videos, or was it like I like playing with my friends, I want to record it?
Yeah, just a little bit of just a little bit of all. I used to love recording, watching YouTubers. I used to love watching like COD YouTubers back in the day, like the Hutches, the C Nanas. I used to love all of that. FIFA wise, I think maybe one of the earliest FIFA YouTubers I watched was MGH playing career modes and stuff, and I just used to watch that back in the day. And I don't really think I ever saw myself becoming a FIFA YouTuber until I found like pro clubs, and I was like, okay. I started uploading pro clubs and realized there wasn't that many people who did it, if anybody really, back in the day. Then I kind of disappeared for a few years, and then I got back into FIFA around FIFA 15, FIFA 16, and then I was like, I really like clubs. I like the social part of games. I'm one of these guys who maybe unfortunately now can't really play a game on his own without being bored. Like I can't play too many games on my own, and I sort of envy the people that can play those sort of games. For me, I love the social side of gaming. Like I love being in a party with my real life friends, playing pro clubs, and we're talking, and like the game's sort of just part of what we're doing. It's like hanging out for us,
Right.
and that's kind of how it
That's
started
what
for
I get
me.
a lot from your channel. That's what, like, I don't really watch many. I don't watch a lot of FIFA content, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
But the reason I think your channel is specifically interesting and fun to watch is not because necessarily the FIFA. It's because like it's just the boys having a chat,
yeah, yeah.
trolling, having some fun. That's all it is, right? And that's
And I'll be
anyone can
honest,
relate to
that
that.
started completely randomly. Like we just started uploading videos. I started uploading videos on clubs, and it would be more I'd record clubs and then talk over it like this, just me. And then I realized, okay, what's clubs kind of about? It's about playing with the boys. It's about like just hanging out. And the more that I've grown as a channel, the more I've sort of tried to make it more about our personalities as a group of people. Big inspirations for me are people like the Fitzes, not necessarily for all the things they say and do, but just like for how they sort of are as a group. It's all about them. They could do anything, and people turn up to see them rather than the game. I made a decision with some of my mates who helped me on the channel about a year ago. This game is never going to be good enough to create content on that's based around the game. Like nobody really cares about the game. It's going to have to be about something else. And people we moved towards just making it about us, and people seem to like that. So we're going to carry on, and that's pretty cool to us. It's like the best feeling I could ever have on YouTube. I don't have to. Sorry about that. Smash my desk
No
with
problem.
passion. I don't
You're
have to
so happy
rely.
about it.
I'm so happy. I don't have to rely on a lightning round or a pack, or I don't have to rely on something this game gives me to make content. Do you
Right.
know what I mean? FIFA 20 Pro Clubs, FIFA 21 could not get updated. I know my channel's going to still grow. I know people are going to keep coming back, and hopefully, long may that continue. I don't have to rely on this dog shit game to create anything. I'm
Right.
sorry, I don't even know if I can swear, but
Oh yeah, it's fine. Go ahead.
yeah. So that's
It's
it,
not
man.
like
That's
this. Not YouTube's not paying any money right now, anyways, because of this pandemic. So it's like,
Yeah,
who
of course,
cares?
of course, yeah. But that's it, man. All my favorite YouTubers now are groups. I love dynamics. I love group dynamics of YouTubers. I watch people all the time for their groups and the people they hang out with, and um, yeah, that's kind of where my channel's headed. So I'm lucky in that way.
You bring this is a fantastic. It brings it a few different points. One of them is like, what's the downside of that, right? Because your friends aren't always free,
Big
right?
downside.
Sometimes, right? Or maybe like one of your friends gets jealous or something. He wants like a cut of the channel, or you know
Yeah.
what I mean? What are the downsides of this? Like, there's no job is perfect. No path is perfect.
That's it. Big downside is that I can't record stuff on my own. So often I'll have to, like, if I'm playing a club's game and I want to record something, I need that person to be free. My friends are always really flexible and supportive with that. So you got like the main two people on my channel, Redinho and Johnny P. They both like constantly available to help, which is great, and always offering tips. And the best thing about having mates so close to the channel is having mates so close to the channel. They're honest. So if I upload something, they will literally message me, "That was shit." Like that was crap.
Right,
And
right.
and
That's
when
important. You need that. You need someone to
yeah,
check you.
and they'll message me like 5 that was crap, or you should rename that, or you should do it this way, and then I'll get like 1 that was a really good video, and then that video will get like 300k views, which is a lot more than normal for me. I'm like, okay, yeah. So that's good. Money wise, yeah, that's the only thing that's sort of difficult because often people obviously donate to us as a group when we're streaming, and then obviously I share those donations out. But it's never been anything awkward yet, and I don't think it would be. I think um, it's just one of those things. Like I think they're very supportive and they know like this is my channel. But obviously, if somebody does donate, like we did a birthday stream the other day. Me and Rodinho have the same birthday, and like we were just like, let's split it between us two because people were donating for the birthday donations. And
Right.
apart from
So
that,
these are your real life friends, or these are people that you met online,
literally met
that's the only part
online.
I don't
So
get. Wow,
yeah.
that's so
Yeah, I met
crazy.
these guys online, but my content's been split between people I've met online. So from Billy to Rodinho to Johnny P to Hubbiger, all the way to actual real life friends that I play now with, and they're part of the channel in some ways sometimes as well. Um, but yeah,
That's so wild.
obviously, it's mad. It's mad. I've met half of them, more than half of them. I met all of them pretty much, and it's kind of crazy. Like even like Johnny's dad will sometimes watch the videos and stuff. It's hilarious. So yeah, yeah.
When did you meet? This is probably a while ago, right? Or no?
Yeah, yeah. So it ranges, but first person I met probably back in 2012, and then yeah, Johnny P was about 2015 through pro clubs. He just like wanted to play with me, and then became mates. Same thing with Rodinho. Yeah,
Yep. Do any of these guys have like their own aspirations of doing YouTube, or are they just down to chill with you, play games, and record videos?
mainly just chill and play games, but they're starting, and I've always been on to them about starting because we're never going to really reach any potential if they don't make their own content because people like them for them as well. You know, a lot of people like them, their characters and what they say and what they do. And like Johnny P started a Twitch stream already getting stuff like £100 donations from our group of like from
Wow.
people who, and he doesn't
Yeah.
even have like, okay, so now I'm going to expose myself for knowing nothing about Twitch, but he's got nothing on there, right? Like he's just started and someone's dropping £100 donation to him. So the community that we've built is a very special one. Very, very special one. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's definitely the one thing I always get when I'm either in one of the streams or watching the videos, checking the comments, whatever it is. It just feels like a smaller community vibe, but it's not. Your channel is growing like massively. It's already like 150k approaching, right? So it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy that you're still able to keep this like small community feel with such a big channel.
Yeah, and tips for that from me has been streaming. Since we started regularly streaming, you meet the same. We might be lucky enough to have like 1.5k people watching at a time. I'd say an average for us is about 800, and the same 200 are always there. And you just start to know these guys, the Unos, the AK Aarons, the Hargrams, these guys who are constantly turning up back to back streams. you talk to them all the time, and then suddenly a little mod chat forms with all the mods. Then you've got a community forming and a community chat, and then you're speaking to everyone in there. It's amazing. It's part of what makes YouTube um, so appealing to me is a community, because why else would I make videos if I didn't care about the people who watch them or want to speak to the people who watch them? Like so many YouTubers, so many YouTubers just have editors who make the entire video, upload the video. And unfortunately, I think that's the only way you can go when you get to a massive status, like, when you have 4 or 5 million subscribers. But a part of me thinks you lose, you lose a little bit of it, right? You're not even looking at the comment section, at least. You're not doing anything like that. And yeah, I could name you like 300-400 regulars like right now on my channel, and it wouldn't even be tough.
When I used to stream back in the day, I used to stream at like 2017. I wasn't working at the time, so I just started like getting into streaming. I was streaming a couple hours every single day, and it was so fun to watch like the community grow. And at the start, I only had like, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000 subs. I don't have that many, but like I was so desperate to keep people in the chat and engage. I used to memorize people's clubs. So random people would come in, I just start talking to them, and I'm like, hey man, what club do you support? And they would write it down, and then eventually I would go back into my stream and I would like I had a massive Excel sheet. I had like 600 clubs, 600
That's
people
so
in there.
cool.
And then they came back and I'm like, hey man, how'd that Man City game go or whatever?
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, you took the time. Like, yeah, this mattered to me. This was something
Mhm.
that I cared about. I'd like to have a good community, so I'd like to have people engaged.
That's
But that's a
what's
really
it.
interesting point.
That's just something that winds me up about YouTubers. I think you can get to a certain level where you kind of forget that. And a lot of times that I'll tune into big streamers and I'm like, okay, so he's not read the chat in like 45 minutes. And one thing that sort of I don't want to ever get to is people who only read donation messages. Like you have to donate to get like there's thousands of people there. You can obviously never read half the people's messages, but just reading like a couple of people who put a message in there. Because often like what we struggle with, people will donate and say, can I play? You just have to cap that straight away and say no, because you can't start
Yeah,
like,
that's a
I
dangerous
become EA
precedent. Yeah.
Sports. I become EA Sports. You're paying me
Right,
for
right.
advantage. Like, no, absolutely not. Like, thank you for the donation. It supports the stream and it means more than you could ever like know. But I can't be like, oh, okay, this guy Nelly donated 20 quid, so he gets to play. Oh, someone just donated 25. Sorry, Nelly, unless you've got 10 quid, like, nope, you're not in. And it's
Yeah.
no, can't happen.
I think I've definitely made that fault in the earlier days where I felt like I have to give something back, and I didn't realize that giving something back would set that precedent.
Sure.
But
sure.
you know what the interesting part is, like a lot of these bigger names or people in the community, they kind of care more about. To me, this is just an observation. They care about like their peers and like where their goals are, like where they're trying to get to, and they kind of forget about like their community. Like your loyalty, number one, should be to your audience, to people that support your content, share your content, donate, whatever it is. So like to put anything else ahead of that seems just kind of silly.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It's all that matters, really, isn't it? It literally is all that matters. So, the bigger you get, the less connected you are going to get, and it's going to become a little bit less intimate. But you can always sort of do your best to keep in touch with, especially the people that are there at the start of like the journey with you, and that's hopefully what we can do with our channel. You were kind of there's only a certain amount of people you can memorize, but yeah.
Dude, what about like, as you get bigger, obviously you're gonna get more haters, more toxic comments, and with the FIFA community, that's just gonna feels like it gets magnified. So do you feel like you're already starting to get bigger as a channel? Do you feel like you're seeing an increase in more haters and stuff like that?
It's hard to say. Haters, and it's so cliche, but honestly, are just your biggest fans. The amount of times that I'll get a hate comment on a live stream that will just say, you guys suck or whatever, or you're ugly or this, and I'll reply and they go, oh my god, you read my comment, and it's like, Jesus.
All right, fake haters,
And like,
stands.
I'm sure anybody listening to this who's got any level of maturity to them will just go, wow, that's incredibly sad, and that's what it is. Like if we see that stuff and we're just like, oh, okay. I think when I started out, I used to get a lot more hate. I started out in the pro clubs community. I was very big on competitive. And then obviously when you're playing competitive, which is what I wanted to do all the time, everyone's a judge of everyone. Everyone thinks they're better than you. Everyone's got an opinion. And now, because the content's moved for us so far away from that, like people will come into my live streams and say you're shit, and I'll be like, I know, it's great though, and then just kind of move on. Like I don't care. Like it doesn't.
So
like,
unfazed, right?
Yeah. But I think maybe I'm just lucky. I just kind of been getting so much positivity that it just massively outshines any negativity that I see. Which is
I think
great.
I'm in the same boat. Sometimes you focus on the small haters when the reality is plus percent, 95+% of people are respectful. They're nice. You know, they
Yep.
share your content. They're just good viewers, right?
Yeah, for
But you
sure.
did bring up an interesting point. You said you were playing like competitive pro clubs, and I didn't know. Like, I literally know nothing about pro clubs. Like, that's how we basically started talking because there was a bunch of FIFA 20 updates for pro clubs, and I'm like, why would I go on my show and BS about something I don't know? So I'll just bring you in.
Yeah,
You tell me what you think, right?
yeah.
So the pro clubs community is quite massive, and I didn't know the VFL. Like, can you tell me more about this VFL stuff? I only read a little bit about it.
Yeah,
When did
VFL
it start? What is it?
I think it was 2012. I've actually got the facts of that in a video before, but I can't remember. But it was early days. They started like FIFA 12, FIFA 13, and it's basically just a website that you sign yourself up to with an email address, and then you make yourself a username. You've got countless teams now. I mean, when it started, you were looking at like 10 teams playing in a league format. So the games are scheduled. You have an admin who takes all your scores at the end. So it's all legit. So if I was to play against you with my team, we'd all put our results in afterwards, even down to now goals and assists and seasons. There's every 4 weeks there's a season, so you can win Ballon d'Or, you can win like the goalkeeper like awards, most saves, and do you know what, mate? It is just nothing like it when you start playing VFL. When I first played VFL, I had never experienced anything like it. We were in the championship simulation. We went to Derby and we got promoted, and it was just incredible. Like the last game of the season, we won the league with like a goal I scored in the 82nd minute against the team that was also top of the league. So we won and we went up to the next league. And obviously, the biggest part of VFL is community. Like everybody knows everyone, and there is a lot of toxicness, but there's no point focusing on that because there's a lot of brilliance that comes out of it as well. Like you meet a lot of people through it. So how I met Johnny P. It's how I meet like a lot of different people along the way that I still play different games with now. Like a guy called Tristan, who I play Warzone with all the time. Me and him met on VFL, so it's amazing. And there's many other sites out there, not just VFL, but VFL have been doing it so great for so long now. I just hope that they get bigger and bigger like they are every year. And when you discover it and when you play your first couple of seasons, Nelly, in that, there's nothing like it. Like if you got a
I
group
have
of
to
you that
start doing
like
pro
private
clubs now.
club,
Thank you. For perfect. You've
if you've
sold me
got
on pro clubs. Thank you.
listen, you can find a good team yourself, but even better if you go in with a few friends. It's amazing. Like you play an actual league format, and obviously it's shortened. You play one game instead of 2 games a season, and they squeeze it down into like 3 nights a week, and it goes for about 4 weeks. It's amazing. It's so much
You,
fun. It's so
you
much
know
fun.
my honest fear? Not I wouldn't say fear. I would say the reason I'm not really a big pro clubs guy is because I'm not really fancy in any. Like I have
Yeah,
no. I don't do all these skill moves, and I feel like that's a slightly bigger part in pro clubs than it is in like Ultimate Team. I've always, as a player, when I played, I've always been like just focus on the fundamentals, passing, first touch, all that. And when I play FIFA, there's nothing fancy. I just work the ball around until I find a spot. That's kind of how I used to play, and that's kind of what worries me about pro clubs. Like I don't know what I would contribute.
yeah. So that's it. Like low level pro clubs is all about skilling and messing around, and sort of like what you see on my streams when we're playing in like Division 10, messing around. But when you're playing high level, you got 11 versus 11. People in CDM, people in right back, people in goalkeeper. Like you'd be really, the best centre mid for the best team on pro clubs hasn't done a ball roll since like 2011. Trust me, like it's like you'd fit right into a CDM slot, and if they did, you'd just be screamed at. It's all like proper, taken very seriously, and to be honest, that's how you have the most fun out of it. What is great about the VFL as well, if you're like you don't have to just join the best team and it's super competitive. You can join like Syria B, which may be a little bit less competitive, and you can just play for a laugh and you can do skill moves or you can mess around and like you can still try and win games, but it doesn't have to be like everything's a Champions League final. Competitive pro clubs, obviously everybody starts from somewhere, so you can join teams that aren't as high level, which is, there's a place for everyone in it.
Right, I might have to give it a shot. I mean, need some content. Might as well give it a shot. You tried Ultimate Team. I feel like this is a sacrifice I have to make or something.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, another question I had was with this VFL situation, why is EA not behind this? Why has EA not implemented their own system? When I went on the website, it looks so clean and organized. There was so much detail, information, and so many people. I genuinely don't understand why this isn't being like held by EA in some way. Is that something you would want even? Do you think they can make it better? Do you think they'd ruin it?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I want pro clubs to grow, and that's why this period recently, I don't know if you've seen, pro clubs has just been growing so much since quarantine started. I think it's the reason my channel's been blowing up. So pro clubs went from 20,000 players active at peak times to 120,000 nowadays,
That's
and
so
it
crazy.
just jumped. And that's April that it's done that. So for me, let me just think. I've completely gone off trail. I'm an idiot. What were we talking
Pro
about?
clubs
We were
going,
talking about
making bigger, EA
yeah,
maybe taking it
yeah,
over.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously they'd probably ruin it. They'd probably put microtransactions all over it. I've spoke about how I think pro clubs need microtransactions in order to grow. Now, whether I want it to is a separate thing. I've spoken about how it needs it. So if EA were to take it, we know their business model. It's make money now and make a lot of it. So there's never going to be a time where pro clubs gets a big update and takes players off of Ultimate Team without it being profitable for EA. Like there just isn't. They would never do that, and we know that. And unfortunately, that's the reality of it. So people sometimes get annoyed at me for saying that in videos, like, oh, and it's like, listen, I'm not giving them the idea. Like
Yeah, they've thought about it. Don't
they've
worry.
thought about this very clearly. And if they were to ever update career mode, Volta, pro clubs to a level where it was anywhere considered a rival to Ultimate Team's player base, it would be monetized. It's just a fact. I don't see them doing it, mate. And I think it's the same reason that FIFA 20 gave us a Volta 5v5 street game mode, 3v3 street game mode that was not playable with friends because it would compete with Ultimate Team. It would take players off of the main game mode that makes them all the money. So it's a difficult
It's
one.
a win-lose. It's a win-lose, right? Because in one sense, if it gets big enough to a point where EA has to actually look into it, they're gonna ruin it with microtransaction. If it continues to stay small, or if it if it doesn't do well, it's either gonna get like completely forgotten or unupdated. So it's like there's no win here, right? It's a win-lose either way, right?
Exactly. And the thing is people could sit there and say, well, they could update pro clubs with microtransactions and Volta, and if they were able to buy things, technically they'd make more money. And you would be correct. But the shareholders at EA and the people who make all the big decisions currently get a piece of paper on their desk that shows them how much money they're making every single year. And recently, 28% of Ultimate Team sales, like microtransaction Ultimate Team, was 28% of that was EA's total revenue for the year.
Insane. One mode in one game is 30% of their profit.
If you're the shareholders and then you go, or you're sitting there with the big people who make the decisions, you go, we're going to start adding micro. No. Just do what you do. Just keep doing what you're doing because we're fine with that. So that's how it goes. I've got inside people at EA. I'm quite proud of this little one. I know that me and FootSpy were the first two people to leak Volta to the world. Like I knew from inside EA, Volta was coming out of like March 2019. All you got to do is go and check the videos that came out back then that I released, the tweets.
Yeah,
So
I remember.
I'm not like sitting here saying I know everything, but I'm not just talking hot air. I do have people that kind of give me information, and that's the same thing with EA. They're never going to make changes until something like a legislation comes in on loot crates for Ultimate Team, and they go, okay, maybe let's look at an NBA 2K route of my player and making money off of that, and pro clubs and Volta and merging it. It's only ever going to happen if the team gets sort of nerfed, quote unquote, and they can't just make money off it like that.
That's your best case scenario. Your best case scenario is, let's say, 5 years down the road, microtransactions are completely microtransactions. Let's say best case scenario, packs are gone, everything's gone, and then they just have to focus on making a quality game that people are going to buy for the full retail and play it. And then they're going to say, well, there's 100,000 people every day on pro clubs. Why don't we invest some money into fixing this? Because if we don't, the same thing happened with career mode. Like I think the career mode thing that happened this year was probably the most atrocious, where they literally try to release an unfinished game, and it's becoming like a norm in the gaming industry.
It is. I mean, it was crazy. It was like unplayable for 3 months, right?
Yeah, it still has like bugs. If you'll see some of these bugs in here, like as we're watching this guy running quicksand, some of them are still like from like a week ago. Like I didn't go too far back to get a lot of these. Some of these are pretty recent. Like watch this one. This one's pretty wild. Wait for it.
Straight dick downing on the grass. He's going straight for it. Thing is though, Nelly, there was career mode in this FIFA. Go back to last year and you had problems with pro clubs friendlies and cams. Go back to 2018 and you'll find a wild JCC going to EA Sports office in Guildford to try to
watch that video.
The team because pro clubs didn't work for 3 months. So all that VFL we spoke about, you need to invite other teams to friendly games. That's how they're organized. So I would invite your team through the friendly system. Didn't work. You could also be 6'6" or 6'7", have 99 pace, 99 everything, 99 shooting. That took months to fix. I mean, the game has been ridiculed with bugs in different game modes, and I was kind of happy to see career mode have issues because the community is so much bigger that at the start of this year, it actually made a noise, right? They were trending on Twitter. They had big athletes from like the NBA and real
Right.
like
Joel Embiid tweeted it out and wrote it
this
on his
is it,
stream.
man,
Yeah, that's right.
coming out and saying it, and I wasn't happy that career mode was broken. A lot of my friends make a living off of that game mode. So like an actual friends like Jared and Niran used to, and S2G, and all these guys rely on this game, Rich Lee, B Monas, to pay their bills. And I was like, okay, shit, this is a problem. But at least there's a noise being created that can't be ignored. And it was trending on Twitter constantly. And pro clubs had the same thing a year ago, but the community was so small. And that's kind of always been my goal, to grow my channel, to give this game mode a voice. And some people might not like me, but you can't sort of disagree with the fact that if I do make a noise about something, it gets seen nowadays. You know, the community managers I'm in contact with, rest in peace. I think they both got hit by a bullet. I don't know what happened to them. They're gone. But
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're happy with yourself and you know you've tried to do something, you can't really like. What is a hater gonna say? It's like, what have you done, keyboard warrior? Like, you've done nothing. If whether my thing worked or not is not really relevant. The thing is, like, I've made a small difference in my head. I've tried. You know, you've written a comment on a video. Like, what's the? I put 3 months into a video and you left a comment that you think you can destroy my video in like 2 seconds. No, it's silly to me.
For sure.
The real disheartening part about watching, like, I watched old videos, your old videos, Inception's old videos, and it's like nothing has changed. Like, I'm literally, it's like everything that Inception was talking about in like 2013, 2014, it's still in the game. Like, DC Glitch has been in the game for 7 years, 8 years. It's insane.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. And like, you look at other game companies at the moment. Call of Duty is a big one, obviously, with Warzone. They took out a big thing in the game called bounties, which people loved. Within a day, put back in due to complaints. People complained, said, no, come on, we like put that back in. Like, they were good for the game. Streamers were coming out and saying it within a day, maybe 2.
Right. Fortnite did the same thing with, like, they released some sort of unit or something that was OP and everyone complained. They literally removed it like the next day.
Yeah, it's crazy, mate. And EA Sports, the community managers block people for asking legitimate questions on their community manager Twitter pages. So, I mean, what are we dealing with here? Like, no, you know, it's crazy. I think you know the example I'm talking about.
For sure, 100%. I've probably talked about it in the video. Backing off of, like, this just makes me angry. Backing off of this stuff, going back to you a little bit. Like I said, I was watching your old content. First thing that stood out to me: are you actually 5'11"?
5'11", 5'11"?
Yes.
Oh, with a good pair of shoes on, mate. I'm like 5'9".
5'9". That that blew my mind. I'm like, I always thought, I don't know why, in my head I was like, JC seems like a big dude, like a swole, huge man, an alpha male.
Listen, none of my friends are here, so they can't get on my back about this. I'm 5'9.5", and if you're under 6 foot, the half counts. So I'm 5'9.5", 178 centimeters, and all of my closest friends are like 6'4". So, like, on YouTube, they're all like 6'4". So to them, I'm like 5'2". So,
wild.
Yeah, no.
It blew my mind. I'm like, man, I'm actually taller than JC. This is well, he's more ripped, but I mean, whatever. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about it.
It's easy to be ripped if you're 5'1", I guess. That's what people say. I don't know. People say it's easier to put muscle on.
Okay, another thing that stood out to me was these Darren Bent jokes. I could not understand this. Like, I don't know. Do you ever think about, like, people watching your old content and trying to, like, decipher what the hell was going on here?
Oh, they'll have no idea. Do you want to know the story of Darren Bent and JCC?
Please. Yes.
I did in my first VFL season, like I told you about earlier, you can win awards, and I got a place in the team of the season as a striker. So I finished as the best striker in the league. Now you get like a graphic now that the admins or the graphics designers who work for VFL will make, and they'll put like Ramos for a centre back and Ronaldo for the right winger. They put me up front as Darren Bent. Obviously, let's wind up. And I did this whole video reveal where I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to see who I got. Like, let's have a look at the team of the season. Big JCC up front. I'm Darren fucking Bent. Like, just
that's so good. Out of all the players,
Pele, Ronaldo, Beckham. Yeah, so that's kind of where it came from. And you know, for about a year, Darren Bent was just spammed on my channel every time I uploaded. Kind of died now. But the OG.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed to see that die. But the other thing I was kind of laughing about, you had a 9K special video and then you had a 10K special video, which is something I have never seen anyone do this. You made one video like a month from the other one.
And my like desktop login screen is still my 9K thumbnail, and I kind of keep that because every now and then I look at it and I go, when I log onto my PC to edit a video, I'm like, wow, 9K, and now I'm on like 130K. Like it's a sort of reminder to myself. But yes, I did do that, and then I haven't done one of them for years. I haven't done any specials, I don't think.
I
Like
love those special
in that.
videos. It lets me just do whatever I want. It lets me get away with doing whatever I want. Like no one's gonna complain.
Right.
Hey, what the hell is this video, Nelly? I'm like, it's a special video. It's my 10K
Yeah,
special. I can do whatever I want.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The other thing I kind of noticed was first you started. Are you a Man U fan or are you a Fulham fan? This is the one thing I want to
Yeah,
clear
I
up
am a
here.
yeah, so this is it. This is what my mates always give me stick for as well. I'm a boyhood like Man United fan, right? So I grew up. My dad died when I was 6, but he was never into football, and I grew up with women. All of my family are women, and they just like none of them have a football team that they support. So I was like, okay, who's the best team in like 2005? Man United. So watching them, fell in love watching David Beckham, Ronaldo, all of those players. Fulham's like my local team. So much so that I would go to Fulham to watch Man United. So I've been like 3 times to Fulham just to watch Man United before I ever supported Fulham. But then I got older and stuff, and I was like, 14, 15, and I was like, I don't really want to support like just the biggest team ever, and like this doesn't work for me, right? I was like, who have I been to see a lot? Well, Fulham to watch Man United, but
Of course.
obviously
Right.
I was like, okay, well, let's start going to Fulham games. So I just started going to Fulham games and fell in love with the club. And a lot of people obviously give stick about that, and rightly so. But I have my excuses. I grew up without a dad who didn't even support like really watch football anyway. Like my father was into cricket. Like none of my family really into football. So I always sort of joke that I chose Fulham. So I'm actually the biggest fan in the world because they're absolute dog shit, and I still chose them.
Right.
But,
Out of all the teams you could have picked,
yeah,
Fulham.
now like I go to games like probably like at least a game a month or something like that, and try to go to away games when I can. But that's how it happened, mate. So much so that in a quiz with my friends, you know the meme of the guy looking away from a girl that he's holding her hands?
Yes. Yes.
We
It's
both
you, Fulham, and Man United.
did onto Fulham. Yeah, that was it. And I was like, and I was like, oh, for God's sake.
Oh, it's too good.
That's it. That's how it works.
The other one that really stood out to me, I think this is your best video on your channel. No offense to the FIFA is dead video, but how small YouTubers travel.
Oh yeah, yeah. I loved that one. Absolutely loved that.
I'm so disappointed that one didn't get more traction because that was like borderline like brilliant.
I know a true story about that video as well. My friend used to promote London nightclubs. I recorded that video when I was probably like 17, 18. And he used to be one of these like promoters. We all live around London. He somehow got KSI Olajidebate's number on a night out. So he had him on WhatsApp from promoting a club to him back like years ago, like 5 years ago. I don't even know when that video went up. And he WhatsApped that video to him and was like,
No way.
out this video because he just dropped like Lamborghini and all that, maybe a bit earlier, and left it on the 2 blue ticks. no idea
Whoa.
speaking to JJ, which I know will happen at some point. The first question I'm going to ask him is if he ever watched that video, and you can hold me to that, Nelly.
You'd be like, KSI, I know you're my biggest fan because you saw that video.
The 2 blue ticks.
I saw the 2 blue ticks. He's gonna be like, "What are you talking about, bro? This dude's lived more of a life than all of us combined, like 100 years, right? He's only like what 22.
Who?
He's not even that
KSI.
old. Yeah, he's already lived a full man's life. Like he's experienced everything he could do.
Right now, I think he's like 26. Yeah,
26.
27. But yeah, he's definitely had some experiences in life. What am I watching on this screen, by the way?
Yeah, this is an invisible player glitch. I don't know if you've seen that one before. There was an earlier one. We only have like, wow, this has flown by, man. I wish this was longer. We only have 5 minutes. This is an invisible player as well. There's actually one that we just missed. It was this guy won a penalty shootout. The game ended. The game glitched out. It went back to a penalty shootout, and then he ended up losing.
Wow. Okay.
All right, I have a few more. I had so many questions, but I didn't really think how fast it was gonna go.
I can answer quick.
The MMA stuff. What was that
Hmm.
about? Are you a big MMA fan? Are you gonna, do you ever see yourself making content about that, or is it just like you messing around?
Massive MMA fan. I love boxing. I've done kickboxing for a long time. Broken my nose in a lot of scraps. I have the most broken nose ever. It just keeps breaking.
What?
Uh,
You gotta
and
stop that, man. Good-looking people should not be fighting. I've
no,
said this many
listen, it's
times. What
not
are you
to do
doing?
not to do with the looks, not to do with any looks or anything like that. But I have actually like stopped fighting and stuff because there was just a point where I was just getting hit in the head a lot, and I was just like, "This is just like." I was coming home from training, sitting on the sofa, and I just get my laptop up on the sofa after training with like an ice pack on my neck or something, and like I just have a headache all night. And I was like, I'm 22 at the time. I was like, I
Yeah,
don't. This is just like a lot like Joe Rogan says. He was just like,
right.
I just didn't like getting hit in the head. So I think I'm going to pick up jujitsu, which I've done a lot as well, but not consistently, and start doing something a little bit less contact. But I love it. I love all that. I loved all the
It's
YouTube
like,
boxing stuff.
yeah, for
Unfortunately,
sure.
with
It's very interesting to watch too.
yeah, it is. And unfortunately, with the YouTube boxing, I didn't really have enough subs at the time to get anywhere near involved. I think honestly, if we rewind like 2 years and I'm where I'm at now, I think I could have got on the undercard of some scraps, like all the ones they did in the UK, like KSI versus Joe Weller. They had YouTubers around my size now fighting, but yeah, man, maybe missed that boat. Maybe missed that boat.
Yeah, and that's never too late.
Yeah.
Okay,
But at
the last, yeah, go ahead,
getting
go
hit.
ahead.
At the same time, I don't really like getting hit anymore, so I don't know, man.
Yeah, whenever I have like a beef or something drama with someone, they're like, "Oh, Nelly boxing match, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Bro, you can't pay me enough money to risk my brain. This is how I
Yeah,
like. This is what I do. Like,
yeah,
I need my
sure.
brain to function."
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
The biggest, I guess, this is the biggest question I have for you in general. Do you worry about pro clubs having a ceiling? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's FIFA. If you're making YouTube FIFA content, if you're making Ultimate Team packs, I feel like that can reach a point where you get like millions of views. That's a pretty high ceiling. Most people don't get to that. But with pro clubs, you're already the biggest person for pro clubs. Are you worried that you're going to kind of max out with your audience, or are you worried about maybe EA just ignoring the game and 1 year they say, you know what, we're done making pro clubs? What does
Yeah.
that leave you with? Do you have another maybe goal, objective, a bigger picture maybe?
My plan is to take pro clubs as far as I can. I think like nobody ever thought there would be a pro clubs YouTuber with 130,000 subscribers. Do you know what I mean? Like it's it's
100%.
it's something that I'm very proud of. And of course I've made silly videos along the way, but I've always stuck to pro clubs. There's never been a time where like I just started opening foot packs for months and just getting views off that. Like I've never branched out and just forgotten about what pro clubs is. It's definitely a ceiling. There's a ceiling with every game. My goal is to break that ceiling, but be realistic. I don't think that you could just get to 5 million subscribers on FIFA 21 Pro Clubs. Like it's just not that something that's going to happen. Creating characters on my YouTube channel and being able to branch into other games is something that we're always looking to do. And like I uploaded a COD video that got 10K about 6 months ago views. The moment that got 10K, I celebrated like a video got like 400K. Like I was like,
Massive. Yeah, it's so massive when you can get your audience to watch something else that you're
yeah,
doing. It's enormous.
100%. And so I'm always proud of other videos that we do that branch out and get views. But I got plans, man. I got plans. I want to be able to always stay true to clubs and help grow the game mode, but also create a community and create characters through the people that I've already spoke about on the channel, where we can branch out and play other games and do other ventures. Who knows? Maybe even a podcast. The world definitely needs more of them.
Yeah, right. You're right. What about like maybe like a sidemen type thing, but with like your friends from pro clubs? Is that something you would ever consider?
Always like the ultimate sort of, especially when you're in the UK, but always the ultimate goal for everyone. There's things happening soon around my channel that are pretty exciting. I've had some meetings to do with some things that I can't probably talk about now, but we might be seeing some exciting changes coming along that sort of way. But
Thanks. Now I
to
gotta make
say,
a part 2 of this video so I can bring you back to talk about that stuff. Thanks, dude.
yeah, no, just keep an eye out. But to say that you want to be, of course, like yeah, of course, like those guys, absolute jackpot with what they've done. But it's. I think I can take the channel far, and my goal is 1 million subscribers, and I believe I can hit that. So I think pro Club will be a big part of that journey, Nelly. I do.
For sure. Just to kind of close off here, I think, it's not like that I'm getting paid per compliment here. I think your channel is very good. It's very enjoyable to watch. I think you have a good community. I think you're definitely gonna grow. And congratulations on all your recent success. Your videos this year particularly have been killing it. So fair play. I don't
Thank
know. Do you want to promote something? Tell people where to go, where to watch you? What are you doing?
I don't know, mate. JCC YouTube channel. That's it. I just really appreciate you having me on, and I'm always gonna have time for you because I massively feel like anyone that speaks real in this community is someone to just keep an eye on. So yeah, man.
Yeah,
Thank
there's a
you for
lot
having
of fakers out there.
me on, man. There's a lot. There's a lot of it.
All right, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me, mate.
This video is brought to you by nobody because I couldn't get a sponsor. But if you're enjoying the video, drop it a share, drop it a like, I don't know, leave a comment or something. That always helps me. My next guest is Inception. He's a big content creator. I respect his work ethic. I respect him as a content creator. So I really wanted to pick his brain about a bunch of different topics. I hope you guys enjoy it. Alrighty, Inception is here today to talk to us about a lot of interesting topics. The first thing I want to kind of jump into with you, Inception, is the origin of your channel. And one of the bigger videos you have is very similar to a bigger video I had, but I don't know how successful it was at the time. You did a video with the FIFA player, which is Spencer FC. You beat him in a show match.
Yeah.
Was that like a big boost for your channel?
It actually wasn't. So during that time, what actually happened was Spencer, when he was the field player at that time, was doing a series on his channel where he was giving specific YouTubers shoutouts. And what had happened was his viewers thought that the rules that he put in place for that series wasn't fair to the YouTuber that he was playing against. So the moment the game just before mine, the player that he played against, his video went live for that situation, but then mine didn't because he told me, oh, my viewer said it didn't make sense. And as a YouTuber, I kind of have to abide to it. So then he ended up not doing it. So you won't even, it's on my channel, but you won't see it
Right.
on his. Yeah.
Wow, I thought maybe I was looking for it. I'm like, man, where's this video? I feel like I would have seen this. This would have been massive.
So
Was he
if
still
you-
big at the time? Was he like still
so
massive?
during that time when I first started doing YouTube, I think his channel was around 100K subs. So 100K subs, it may have brought in like a few hundred people during that time, if it makes sense, right? Like, it's obviously you still need to like consistently post your own content and whatnot, but it would have maybe helped a little bit. But yeah, it wasn't a big deal. I just kept on doing it afterwards, anyways. But if you actually search his channel and you search the amount of the time that I uploaded and the time that he uploaded, if you search that general area, you'll see this. You'll see the second game he plays. You won't see mine though. Mine would have been, I think, the third one.
Do you feel like he did you a little dirty? Like,
No, not
like
really. I mean, like at that point, like even when I was younger, I was like understanding. I understood that like his viewers, if his viewers see something a certain way, but you don't, you still kind of have to abide to your viewers a little bit, right? Like you can't just fully be whatever you want to be, right? So it didn't make sense at the time. I wasn't really that too upset, but I was like, oh man, that shout out in the beginning could have been a little helpful,
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's basically my kind of big break on YouTube. Was that I did a video with Spencer FC, and it was my girlfriend at the time versus his girlfriend, and that was like a couple thousand subscribers, and that gave me enough to continue growing, I guess.
Right, because you would probably get like a few hundred here and there, and then that's enough for you to like just keep going. You know what I'm saying? So
As long as I have some people, word of mouth, I can keep growing.
yeah, of course.
I guess I should have given you, an introduction of some sort. You've been on YouTube for what, 6 years almost now? You've been making all kinds of content,
Yeah, I would say
player
6 years.
reviews, right? You 6 years. But you started out on Twitch, and then you were just uploading highlights on YouTube. Is
Yeah,
that
so
how?
the way that I did content before was that I used to strictly be more of a streamer, and my content on YouTube wouldn't really be its own entity, if that makes sense. Like if I didn't stream, then the views on YouTube would be like whatever. So it would mostly just be highlights from the stream, but I would mostly be a streamer. And then I think in the last year or two, I've been more of a YouTuber than streamer. So
Right. That's pretty crazy if you think about how many like people came from Twitch and found you on YouTube, and then now you're pretty much fully transitioned to, YouTube, where you're about to have a bigger audience than you have on Twitch.
yeah, for sure. I do prefer streaming more than I do prefer actually making the videos, but it's just that it's obviously the situation of the current game where it's not really a streamable game for me because of the gameplay situation. Most people are aware of how I feel towards it. But in regards to the player reviews, it was kind of like a saving grace because this isn't something I've been doing over the course of years. Like this is something I started doing consistently during Footmas. Actually, I started doing it at that time, and I guess because of the way I view the game and the way I view the way players move, people enjoy that. So that's why it started to take off recently.
Right. You have a very deep understanding of the game to a point because the game doesn't change like a crazy amount every year. So
Mhm.
you know everything you pretty much need to know. You've played thousands of games on old FIFAs and now you don't need nearly as much time to understand what's going on in the game, every player's main attributes and all that kind of stuff.
No, I think before, I would say 2 or 3 years ago, I think most of the players you would look at in regards to their stats, they would play exactly like those stats in game. I feel like recently, um, especially this year's game, I feel like certain players don't really play to their stats because of the gameplay situation. It's always random, of course, but there are specific things that you have to take a look at because FIFA's attacking AI and defensive AI is not really that advanced. They have like maybe 4 or 5 different things for each. It's just a matter of do they do those things consistently or do they do it in a way where I may or may not like it, right? So it doesn't take too long to see if a player is good or bad. Most of the player reviews, it only takes like one game for me. But then some I'd be like, okay, I need to switch the chemistry style because I don't like him with this. So I'll try him in this position in the second game. And then that's pretty much it.
Right. The thing I really respect about you as a creator is you've pretty much done like every kind of video. Going back through some of your content, I was like trying to figure out if there's some sort of type of FIFA content you haven't created, but you've done like highlights of Twitch streams, you've done drafts, you've done Road to Glories, you've done player reviews. Is there something else that you potentially think you're missing, or maybe want to try
Oh,
doing more of?
there's so much things I'm missing. Like people don't understand that. Like I upload a lot of videos nowadays. There's days where if a promo comes out, like I'll try to upload like even 6 or 7 on that day. But that's me uploading videos when I don't even like the current state of the game. Imagine if I actually liked the game and I was consistently streaming because most of the player reviews, most of the tactics videos, most of all that advanced stuff that I would do would be done on stream. And I would just get that highlight, put it on YouTube and do it in the form of a YouTube video while I streamed, obviously, right? And the only reason why I don't do more of what I think I can do is because I don't really like the game that much.
I feel the same way. I feel like if the game was good, I would have so much more content. I don't know if I talked to this with Stallion. I feel like some people think I have something like against EA or I don't want them to do well. It's like, dude, if this game is doing well, I'm doing well too. I have content. I have something to enjoy. I can also stream, but there's no fun in it. So I'm kind of in the same place as you, where I found a way to continue making content that I'm still enjoying, and not have to hate myself every day for doing this.
I think the most important thing when it comes to creating content is like you obviously want to see the views on your channel do well, but the best part is seeing this progression and seeing that people actually enjoy it. Like for me, even as I'm doing the player reviews, like I'm not enjoying the gameplay experience of me doing those player reviews. There hasn't really been that many that I enjoyed. The last one that I enjoyed was using Foot Birthday Griezmann because even though the gameplay was terrible during that time because most of these cards released during the daytime, I still enjoyed making that specific video because Griezmann compensated for the poor gameplay so much that it made me enjoy the game. But for most of the cards in the game, they should feel significantly better than they do most of the times you play the game, but they don't. And obviously it makes the experience of making the video bad. But the thing that obviously makes up for it is the fact that people enjoy the vid so much, the fact that there's progression on the channel. Like that's what's enjoyable to me. But for me personally, the first aim should always be the game being good and then the rest coming afterwards. But I still enjoy what I do regardless because the YouTube content has been like a saving grace for me since streaming the game wouldn't be as much fun for me personally.
Right. I think that brings up another interesting point because I see you get this a lot and it probably bothers you, but I kind of just want to talk about it.
Okay.
People are like, well, if he hates the game, why is he doing this? Or if he feels this way, like, why is he telling his audience to do this? Can you be honest with your audience, you have to hurt their feelings a little bit. Like, hey, why are you playing this game? If you have no, you have nothing tying you down. You're just being brutally honest. Is that, I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
So the thing that I always told people, like this is not something that's been hidden or I haven't talked about. I've talked about this multiple times on the streams whenever I do stream and on the videos for those discussion videos that there's 2 different reasons why I continue to play this game. One, I love the sport. The sport, without this sport, life would be so boring without it. It would be the most boring.
And it is
thing
right
in the
now.
world.
'Cause
It
we're
is like
recording.
even right now we
Yeah.
don't have football and it's really,
Right.
really boring. And then the second thing is that yes, I'm struggling right now, especially over the course of the 5 or 6 years for sure, but people need to understand that it only takes 1 year for me to have a good football game where everything just takes off for me. In my opinion, the way that I view things for content creation right now is that content creation is single-handedly the biggest thing that's on the come up for our generation
Yes.
and for any generation. So for me personally, to just throw that potential away, and because there's so much avenues that I can go with this in the future. Like if my YouTube channel blows up in the future, where even if I have like 1 million subscribers, I can set up another channel on the side and I can make my own football club and then go from there and do. I just want to do stuff in my life that is completely football oriented. Yes, the game is not at the point in time that I enjoy, but they are slowly implementing certain things. The only big gripe that I really, really have with EA is the way that they set up their gameplay content, and the gameplay itself being inconsistent is really annoying. But the way that I always viewed it, even at the time when I was like really just like, I was just not into it. It was just that, it's just wasted potential if I just stop doing it. It's wasted potential because it only takes 1 year for me to continue enjoying the game from that year onwards. Kind of like Fortnite, how Fortnite blew up a lot of content creators because the game was enjoyable at the time, people liked it, and then everyone blew up from that. So very similar situation. If I can blow up from playing a football simulator, that would be the happiest moment of my life. And a game that I actually enjoy playing, of course.
That's a really good point. Yeah, you can really go anywhere. The goal is to get the audience, to have people that, are a fan of your work. And then even if let's say you get 1 million subscribers and one day you just say, you know what, guys, I'm not enjoying this as much. I'm going to take a little break. I want to make football videos. If you want to come along for the ride, it's going to be on this channel. And if you could get 50,000 people from 1 million to come to you, that's a massive W. That's so much potential that you keep growing from that and do whatever you want. And in a sense, you're kind of free to do whatever you want in the future because you have this core following.
Yes, and the core following is always football oriented. So I've noticed even on YouTube that anyone that does football content at all, their content still does really well because it's football at the end of the day. People love this sport. Any form of this sport is going to be entertaining to people. Even in the future, what people don't understand is that, like, even if I was in my 30s, would I still want to play FIFA if it was at a point that I would enjoy? Absolutely. I love playing any version of football, whether it's real life, whether it's the video game. Like it's something that I want. I want it to be the whole part of my day. But nowadays, I don't want FIFA to be a part of my day. Football, yes, not FIFA. That's why I don't really follow that much stuff FIFA oriented on YouTube or Twitter or anything like that. I follow like Footwatch for just the videos. Like if I have to do a discussion videos on the codes they release, that's pretty much it. But I don't want to see drama. I don't want to see anything FIFA related because I personally don't really have time for that.
Fair. That's interesting. The other thing I wanted to kind of ask you, just kind of lost my train of thought here.
Mm-hmm.
You've invested obviously a lot of time into this, which is I think is another thing people don't understand. I'm kind of in the same boat as you when I say, like, yeah, I like making content. At the end of the day, would anything be different if this game was perfect? I would still be making, no matter what's going on in my life. I've enjoyed the content making part. It always challenges me. Like taking a video from nothing and turning into something has always been like, wow, where else can I do that? I have like no artistic ability. So if I can make a funny video out of nothing and watch it grow, I'm like, wow, that's incredible. That's insane. And the amount of time you've invested in crafting this thing that you're doing is something that's always overlooked. Whereas like people with jobs, they invest 4 years in a degree, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? They hate that job. And then what? What are you going to do? You're going to completely throw that away. You're going to throw away a 50, 60, 70K salary because you don't like it. Not everyone, has that privilege.
Right. I think that with content creation, at the end of the day, even when I was younger, when I was 18, when I started doing it, right, I just figured that what I want to do with my life is doing something that I enjoy. FIFA is football oriented. So it was an avenue for me to get into to create content on something that I like. The cool thing about YouTube is that once you gain that audience, which like I had to stream a lot of hours on Twitch to grow the YouTube channel to be what it is. I have always been myself. I have always voiced my opinion, which I think in part is the reason why people enjoy the content, because if I do a player review and I don't like the card, I'll tell you I don't like the card. I'm not just going to make the card look as good as possible just for the sake of it, right? Because on YouTube, if you say a card is bad, but then the audience says the card is good, you'll obviously get backlash. But I've never cared about that. I just want to be truthful to people. I want to just be myself. If I wasn't myself when I was doing content creation, it wouldn't be as fun for me. So it would just be depressing, to be honest. So I think the concept of just creating a YouTube channel, growing it from nothing into something, and then creating the content you want to make that people enjoy. It's a really cool thing, man. At the end of the day, it's kind of like you created your own little forum post. You know, it's pretty cool.
Right. Speaking of content you created, I have to talk about this. You used to make comedy videos that I really enjoy, and
Oh,
I have not, I have not seen those since. I'm wondering if we're ever gonna get one of those, like an
uh,
honest FIFA 17 trailer or
oh,
something
like
like that.
if like you're talking about like when I did the rants for like specific things, like, oh, look at this gameplay
Yeah,
mechanic that makes
yeah.
no sense. Who's the
Yeah.
idiot that thought of this?
There's one where
I
you have a character that you play from EA. I don't know what, I can't remember the name of the
Oh, I
video.
know
It's
which video
like
you're talking about.
best
Yeah.
game ever trailer. I don't know where this Inception came. I didn't even know you made these
I
till I started looking up your channel. I'm like, this is gold. Why? Where is this?
I think I made that video. I would honestly say like 3 or 4 years ago. And honestly, I wasn't streaming at the time because that was like around the time that I stopped consistently streaming. So I was just like, dude, I'm really bored right now. I'm just gonna make this video for fun, right? So yeah, when I have time, it's funny to make those videos, but at the same time, it was one of my coping mechanisms to not get super angry at the
Sure.
state of the game too. So the reason why I don't do it too much nowadays is that I just want to grow my content more around the specifics of FIFA gameplay wise and as a video game. Like I'll sometimes do like pack openings from viewers just to show people like the pack weight of certain cards and whatnot, but I never really want to orient my content around like me actually opening it up with FIFA points and stuff. Like
Sure.
it's not something that I ever wanted to do, even at the time when coin buying was a huge thing. Like if you ever watched Twitch back in FIFA 15 or 16, there would
Mhm.
genuinely be the top 20 FIFA streamers at nighttime because that's when I used to stream most consistently. And I would legit be the only person actually playing the gameplay. Everybody would just be opening packs with coins. And even that time when it was a trend, it's not something that I ever wanted to do because, again, if it's not fun for me in specific ways, then I won't do it at all, right? Like for me right now, it's
Sure.
the content.
100%.
Like the game is not great, but the content is fun for me. So that's why I still continue doing it.
You could have been a millionaire though, dude. If you
I
did some of
mean,
those coin deals.
honestly, at
You
the
ever think
time,
about that?
maybe, but I don't know, man. It's just I think a lot about stuff in regards to morals and whatnot, and I wouldn't feel good about it. Like it just sure you can make the money from it, but I hated coin buying so much at that time because my video game brain really wanted to buy players from the market through playing the game, which still it somewhat doesn't exist nowadays either. But at the time, like, dude, like Cristiano Ronaldo was like 15 million coins, right? Like the moment they implemented the max and min price when I was getting like 15K each time for Division 1, I was actually able to grind to Cristiano Ronaldo. Like I still have the video game concept in my brain first. Like I was so against coin buying at that time that because you could obviously earn the coins and because the player prices were so high that it didn't even enter my mind to even potentially do it. You even, dude, you could still get it nowadays. My emails is filled with people, oh, we could sponsor you with the coins, this and that. I'm like, no, I really don't.
Right. And even now, people wouldn't even fault you for it because so many people hate EA, and like it would be much easier than back in the day, I would think, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think EA would have easier means of actually blocking your account, and because I'm more vocal about how bad their game is, like you literally just need an excuse. Oh, he's a coin buyer. All right, get rid of him. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I'm in the same kind of vote as you with like the morals because I think at the end of the day, I started making YouTube videos because I enjoyed it. It was something fun I wanted to do. It's different from my job, right? So if it becomes something like that, I can't live with myself or I hate it. Like, what have I accomplished? Even if I get it to a certain successful level, even if I get it to a point where this is a profitable career and I hate it, what have I truly accomplished? I've done nothing in my eyes.
Well, the whole thing with like hating what you do, the way that I view it is this, right? So when I was still creating content for YouTube, there was a time period where I would honestly say for 4 or 5 months, like I hated every single bit of it because I was just ranting about how terrible of a company EA was. The way that I viewed it was like this. I was like, you know what? I could have a job right now that I really, really don't like, and I could be getting paid way less than I'm getting paid right now to do that job. So I honestly saw it as compensation. I was like, you know what, like as long as I'm still in the field of football, like this is a shitty period right now, but like I said, like I was saying earlier, it only really takes 1 year for this part of my life to go away, and it could just be significantly better. Like I haven't had a time period where I was like that just angry at everything for, I would honestly say, since before the reviews of Footmas, when I was doing the player reviews. Like that's the time frame I would honestly say. So I view it as like, you could be working a job right now that you really hate, but like, you're at home playing a video game at the end of the day. So
That perspective, yeah, that perspective is kind of everything. It's
yeah,
what
of
helps you
course.
live day to day, right? If you can be grateful for, the opportunity you have, the audience that you have, there's so many positive parts about this thing, right? You have a massive following of people that like your content. You have a side income that's probably pretty decent at this point. So, you can't really complain about certain things there's a lot of people that don't have these things, right?
You're allowed to complain about whatever situation you're allowed to complain about. Like everyone who hates their jobs complain about their jobs. Everyone who plays FIFA, like
Right.
if any
But you don't have an
content,
audience that's calling you out every time you say something. You don't have like when I complain about my job to like a friend, I don't have 1,000 people in the comments, hey dude, why are you complaining? There's some dude in freaking Africa that doesn't have money to do it. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's 100% true. There's also like perspective too, because I used to work in a retail store when I was younger. So the perspective of never wanting to work in a retail store again when I grew older and, grinding out the streams during that time so that I didn't have to do that job anymore. That perspective is also another thing that kind of carries you forward when you're not in a great state of mind playing FIFA. Like, dude, FIFA 19, I don't even want to think about that game because that was literally the worst point of my life for every single angle. That game was terrible, and creating content on it was mesmerizingly terrible too. It was just it's just a bad experience.
I feel you. Because I think 18, 17, I don't know, 18, 19 was where I was doing like a podcast, and we had to basically play the game every week to just be able to talk about stuff. Because if I don't play the game, how the hell am I going to talk about it?
Of course.
And I remember just dreading playing the game because like if if I don't play it, I got nothing to say on the podcast. And then like if I lose the podcast, that's what I enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
And that was like a massive L. So, but this is the other thing. It's really discouraging because I watched a lot of your old videos and like they're the same problems are still here. Like
Yes. Yeah.
nothing has changed. That was the big realization for me. It was like, not only has nothing changed, it's gotten worse. And you've experienced, 5+ years of this, certain years playing 5,000 plus games.
Yeah.
So like that, people don't understand the amount of reps that is. That's so many hours doing this thing,
Yeah. I think that I do always, and this will always be a thing, I do carry this like eternal hatred for EA for never fixing the inconsistent gameplay. Like people know that I'm really stuck on that no matter what. I don't talk about it as much because it does get annoying at some point because I know that behind the scenes certain things are being done. Do I think it's being drastically changed as much as it probably should be? No. I would say I would say it's fully on EA to fix the issue at hand, and they don't. And it's just weird that they can't even see the difference. Like just recently, I think I played the games right now, just to do the review for Jota, right? And the gameplay wasn't great. I played last night at 1 o'clock in the morning. I was lucky because even recently at nighttime, the gameplay doesn't always turn consistently good. But at 1 o'clock at night in the morning, right, the gameplay was beautiful. I was able to pass the ball properly, dribble, all that stuff. And that part of the gameplay, I will always eternally hate EA for, because that part is what holds me back from creating more content and growing more as a content creator, because I've reached a point where the stepping stones have been reached. But if I could stream while doing YouTube, that would be like the greatest thing if I could potentially do. But I just can't. Like I obviously could, but it's just not enjoyable because I don't know what the gameplay is going to be like.
Why? Okay, so this is a good question. Why do you think that is? What is, because you've been to EA twice, one
3
time,
times.
pretty unsuccessful, 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know about that. I thought
Yeah.
it was 2. Well, you've been there several times. You've shown them firsthand what the problems are. You've talked about the problems. We've all talked about it. The funny part is you don't need a engineering degree to figure out what's wrong with this game.
Yeah.
You give me 15 minutes and I'll tell you, hey, this is not what should be happening here. Like, it's not that hard. What do you think is holding them back? What's the big thing? Why can't they solve this problem with inconsistent gameplay?
I think the thing that's holding them back the most is not having people there that actually can tell the difference right away. I think personally that, let's just say, for instance, if I lived in Vancouver and I was able to go there every single day, I can almost guarantee you that the issue would be fixed. I know that a lot of people have this like discussion of how EA intentionally implement this in the game so that your players feel inconsistent, so that people buy more FIFA points, so they can buy more players. People don't understand that the god tier players in the game in good gameplay is unbelievably better than the rare gold cards. Like, yeah, the rare gold cards are usable when the gameplay is good, but they're unbelievably better. So they wouldn't have flown me out the third time to go into an actual server room, right? To test out all the multiple gameplays that they were giving me. The problem that I had at that time was that I never found that good gameplay that I religiously talk about all the time. So I told them straight up, like, yo, we're doing this test and whatnot, but you guys maximum got playable gameplay, but it wasn't good gameplay. If I play Call of Duty right now and I move left and right, forward, back, it's always going to be consistent. But certain animations, certain commands are still not registering when I'm here, and that's irritating me a little bit, right? Which I mentioned in the video when I was actually talking about my visit there. Was my visit there the third time significantly better than the first two? It was, because the first two were a colossal waste of time, and it was because of one individual that bothered me. It was the community manager at the time. But the third time was significantly better, right? I talked to some of the gameplay engineers that were the same dudes from before and mentioned to them how, like, even at that time when I mentioned the inconsistent gameplay to them, they shrugged me off at that time for the first for the first two times. One where I was actually telling them the gameplay differences in a room where we tried out two different gameplays, and I told them this still isn't your best gameplay. And then the second time when I was in an actual meeting in a room and they were putting stuff on the board, and I told them, you guys still don't have your best gameplay, both times shrugged off. So the third time when I was actually going there in a server room to tell the difference, that's where it was actually important. I don't know what they're doing nowadays in regards to fixing it. I know that there are background stuff and that the virus has slowed it down a little bit, but for me, the most frustrating thing is that they do not have someone there that can tell a difference instantly. Like, they still ask me to send them clips. Why do I have to send them clips?
This is my biggest thing that I've always said. It's like, why are you forcing this guy to do it? Are you not a $1 billion or $24 billion company? Who is working on this?
I don't blame the workers there. I blame EA as a company not investing enough money and time into it. The workers there, they just work there. It's the least or the most that they can do, but it's the company not investing in fixing the problem that bothers the hell out of me, because it's so obvious even when I went there that nothing wasn't I should have literally the whole floor at the studios to fix the problem, and I had one small room. It's like, come on.
Right. The pessimist in me was like, all right, this is this is great timing by EA. The last game was a flop. They were announcing all these different changes. They were fully aware in their like which is something I talked about in that video. Like, they are fully aware of all the problems with this game in those pitch notes. Those are very detailed, like, core understanding of the problems with the game. And then, like, they're inviting you over, and then at the end of the day, nothing really changed. So to me, just if I'm being honest, it felt like a ruse almost. Like they were playing a dirty trick to just boost their, sales going into FIFA 20 or boost their, publicity or whatever.
So during that time when before I left to go home, I was mentioning to them like, yo, what am I allowed to talk about in the video? And then they told me like, hey, we'll let you know what you're allowed to talk about. And then afterwards, they legit told me, you can say whatever you want to say. When I made that video, there is absolutely zero like thing where EA's like, oh, make sure you say this, because if they ever told me that, I wouldn't have made the video to begin with, right? It would never have happened. But when I made the video, I had to specifically say how I never found the best gameplay. I had to say that because yes, is it cool that they were quote unquote working to fix the problem? Absolutely. But working on it and actually doing something about it is two completely different things. So I told him straight up after the third time, like, I'm never coming back here again. I've already told you guys 3 times in 3 different occasions. I have multiple DMs and multiple people telling you guys that this is the issue in your game. You need competent people to come in here and actually show you the differences of gameplay, because that's the only way you're going to fix the problem. The fact that they don't have individuals there that can tell them the difference instantly from the first 5 seconds of them playing the game, that irritates me so much, because the company is so rich and they don't put the resources in it. It's really, I've even told them, why don't you guys just come to my house and just test it out on my connection so I can show you the gameplay during multiple times of the day. And one of the guys that I talked to, thank God that he still exists, he even said specifically, like, that's something that we considered for sure. But it's like, considering it and actually doing it are two different things. You have to do it. I am allowing you to come to my house to do it. If I am allowing you to come to my house, it's because I'm not bullshitting. I need you to come here to see the issues that you can fix yourself. Fucking connect whatever you need to connect to my system. I don't care. I want to try to fix the issue. Me going there for a couple of days, it's not going to fix the issue.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's very interesting to always get your perspective from that whole fiasco or whatever. The other thing I want to talk to you about is, are you like kind of aware of like your persona online, or do you care about what people think, or some of these rage videos? Like, are you aware what people are thinking about, like your rage and all these things, like why people enjoy that content and all that stuff?
I've always been the type of person where maybe when I initially started doing content, I would initially care what people thought about me, but the way that I create content now is that I'm just going to be myself in my content. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I'm not going to hate on you for not liking my content. Not everybody is likable. I understand that I may have some features that are not likable to someone, but I would never in a million years change who I am just to fit an agenda of people liking me more. Like, it's just not going to happen. I'm going to be who I'm going to be. If people don't like it, that's fine. In my opinion, every content creator deals with that. And it's just something that it really just doesn't bother me anymore. Like, it used to bother me when I first started because you're new to the scene and whatnot, but it's just something that you honestly just get a thick skin for. Like, I just tell people straight up, like, this and that. If they don't agree, then it is what it is. Like, what am I going to do? Have an argument online? It's a waste of time, right? So
I'm kind of in the same boat there. Like, yeah, as soon as I stopped in the past year or so, I've truly stopped caring about what anyone says about me or my content. If you don't like it, you don't like it, leave. It doesn't matter to me. It's like, I'm gonna keep doing it. But since I've been doing that, it's been like exponentially like growing my channel.
yeah,
People are fully aware. Like, I wasn't saying I was BSing in the past or anything like that. I just wasn't saying everything I wanted to say. And as soon as I took off the filter, to me, it was like, oh my God, it felt so much better just be able to say whatever the hell I wanted. And I don't, this isn't my only financial income, or this isn't my only thing in life. So like, I don't have anything to lose if this were to go down somewhere, right?
yeah. I think you being truthful to yourself when you're making content is the best course of action to take for the future, now and ever. Because honestly, like, the moment I stopped caring about what people thought about me, like, I'm just like, dude, it's like, the stuff that I'm saying, it needs to be said. Someone's got to do it because everyone's scared to do it. Like,
Yes, that's exactly it.
I don't care. Someone needs to do it. At the time when I was literally the only person talking about inconsistent gameplay, not a single soul gave a shit. Then when Foot Champs rolled around, that's when everybody started to care. And it's just like, at that time,
it only mattered when it started affecting them in some way.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, dude, it doesn't matter what the trend is. I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be. Like, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I'm not gonna hate you for not liking it. It's you are what you are, right?
But here's another interesting part. As soon as like this, I guess, momentum happened where like it was more acceptable and everyone was jumping on the hate train, there was so many fake haters. That's what bothered me the most. I think there was so many people like, bro, you don't feel this way. Like, you're clearly putting this on because you know it's the hot thing to do right now. Like, where were you when this game was like ass in 17, or you were playing this game in 15, whatever the time was. Mm-hmm. I've always complained about the game openly. Like, I've said good things, but I've also like never held back on what the problems are. But like, then you had this new wave of content creators, or like some of the bigger guys out of nowhere. They're like talking all this way. Wait a minute. You can't talk this way. You're a game changer. I know what you exactly, you know, you're fully like holding back. I know what you can say and what you can't say, and you're playing this very like tricky little fine line game. And like, some people think you're just gonna get away with it, no one's gonna notice, but we notice these things.
Yeah, I think that, like, I don't know, man. Like, this whole drama thing. Like, at the end of the day, and I can tell you this, I can tell the audience this, I just say what I want to say. And I you know, if I've been told multiple times if I wanted to join the EA Game Changers program. Joining the Game Changers program is going to do absolutely nothing for me. I do everything I can as a game changer because I only care about fixing the game. Being a game changer is what? Me going to the studios a week or two early to get FIFA content, to upload it, and all that fun stuff. Like, I don't care. I just want the game to be good when it does come out, so that when I create content, I can enjoy every single aspect of it. So I think what people say about others is like, oh, like, you're playing this fine line, oh, you're being tricky. I don't care. I don't care what other people say. My opinions are only my own. It's never fabricated because of somebody else. Like I feel the way that I do, and I share it because I want to share it. If someone else doesn't share the same opinion and whatever, then cool, man. But it's like saying that a person is selectively talking about what they want to selectively talk about. It's just a stupid thing to even say. It's irrelevant to the situation. Say what you want to say, get it off your chest, and go from there.
Right. Fair enough. I feel like we're getting way too angry with the FIFA stuff. There's
Oh
something I
yeah.
did want to ask you about. You were talking about starting a real life football league. I know obviously we can't do it with the current situation, but what were like the problems you had with that? Because I remember you talked about it, and then I didn't hear too much about it. I still watch some of your videos from time to time, but maybe you gave an update. Maybe I just missed it.
Oh, so the real life football content, the only reason why I didn't go through with it is because I I wanted to make the content, but you have to really like particularly choose who you want it to be a part of it, right? And that part alone is the hard part. Like the way that you would start off content for football stuff is you would have to do everything yourself. Like it would have to be your own highlights, your own this, your own that. That's how you would initially grow it. But then it was a lot of stuff because even just recording the games, right? Like I would have to buy that camera where you put it in the middle of the pitch and it just records the whole game the entire time, and then I could do the recording afterwards. It was that, and then it's obviously the time as well because like I have to set up the team, and then people are very disorganized when it comes to like joining the team. Like I've already had this problem before, even before I'm even a content creator, where people show up to teams, they haven't paid their amounts to be in the team, but they still show up to the games and stuff like that, and I just don't have time for that. So at some point in the future, it probably wouldn't even be friends that I knew of to do it with. It would probably just be like viewers where I would do like a YouTube series where it's like, oh, you could try out for this, or you could try out for that. But other than that, I stopped doing it because of time and because of being able to trust certain people to be a part of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, you may not know this, but I used to have like a little series where I used to play co-ed and used to
Hmm.
record, and I remember that was such a, I wouldn't say like nightmare, it was such a pain because I needed someone there to record games. I
Yeah.
need to edit those games. I need
Yeah.
to make sure everyone shows up. I also need to like bring a camera around and like it wasn't like everyone in the league is on board with this. I just want to record some games and maybe turn into some fun content, but I have to ask for permissions. It's a very, it seems like it's something simple, but in reality, it's a lot of work
Yeah.
if you want to do it right.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a lot of work. A lot of work has to be required to do it. I think the only way that I would be able to do it in the future is if I grew my content to a certain point where I would have like a management team that did all the stuff for me, and then I would just be like, okay, I'll be the head honcho of this. I want this to happen. I want this to happen. How are we going to get this to work? But it has to be a team effort. It can't just be something you do by yourself and then go from there. Like even if I wanted to go and play co-ed, right? And I wanted to record my own highlights. Then people would be like, "Oh, but like this and that, you're recording the games." And then some games I wouldn't be able to record because some people don't like to be recorded, stuff like
Yes,
that.
right.
Like it's a lot of it's a lot of extra stress that I wouldn't add on myself right now. It would be something that I would love to do in the future if I had the right team to do so.
Right. And for now, the content that you make is solely dependent on you. You can work on it whenever you want. You can
Yeah.
upload it whenever you want. You don't have to rely on anyone. That's the kind of the beauty of content, right? You
Well,
can do it on your own time.
the relying on people part, I still do. And it bothers me, but I'm super, super appreciative of the people that give me the player reviews. I appreciate the hell out of it because without it, I wouldn't be able to make a lot of these videos. But I would personally like to play the game myself and be able to get all those coins to do all these player reviews and all that stuff, but it's just not possible through the way that I want to do it. So with that, you do have to rely on people to get certain cards for you if you don't have enough money to do the reviews. Like just for today, my boy Abraham gave me the Jota card. I wouldn't have been able to do Jota. He's 450K. It's a lot of money, right? So I really, really hate relying on people, but with stuff like this, it's something that it's kind of unavoidable. Like I've seen that most people that do play reviews, they haven't really been buying the cards themselves. Um, but for the gameplay objective ones, yeah, I do all of that, right? It's stuff that I want to rely on myself. But in regards to the specific ones that I can't afford, yeah, that's something that I have to rely on other people, which I wish I didn't have to do.
Okay, so why did EA remove these like loan cards? That was a big question I had, like, because I remember you were doing these no problem. You just get a loan, you get, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 games, whatever it is, and some of these cards are like 400K, and you have no problem with it. But now they've completely removed loans for some of these cards you just want to try out.
So the loan card situation, they actually didn't do it as often as you think they would have done it. Like there was a lot of cards that they just didn't release at all. The reason why they don't release loans is because I'm sure that they saw that it influenced the amount of people actually unlocking those cards because people would use the loan, get their opinion, and then not spend the 300, 400K to clean out their club to get that card. And I'm sure EA
Mm,
being EA, they probably realized that and they're like, oh, if we get someone like Nick or Inception, doing player reviews, and they say that this card sucks from using the loan card, more people will be inclined to not do the card, right? So
mm.
we have to actually unlock it, clean out our club to be able to try out the card nowadays, which sucks. I think the ideal situation would be to just have an account that just has all the players, and then I wouldn't use it for anything else but just for player reviews. But that's living in an idealistic world that would probably never happen, right? So
Right. You have also a deep love for footy, of course. I was just curious, what's your like football background? Did you used to play in high school? Did you have a travel team? What?
So when I was younger, I used to play football all the time. It was something that I prefer doing. Like with FIFA stuff, I only started doing it more probably after like FIFA 13, like more often. Like I would still play it before, but like the way to the extent of probably nowadays, But I mostly played in school teams because I didn't really care to join club teams too much. Like I was good enough to play in the club teams, but it's just not something that I had interest in because your parents obviously have to bring you to the games, and my parents worked a lot, so they never really had time to bring me to the games, and we're not really associated with our family that much. So I would mostly just do it through the school ones because they obviously could bring you to the games and whatnot. Um, yeah, I enjoyed playing it a lot during the time. I stopped doing it probably when I turned like 18, 19, and I obviously missed it a lot because, dude, playing football, it keeps you fit, man. Every single part of your body just feels amazing when you play. And I played, I think, like a month or two ago with my boy, and my body was just completely destroyed. I couldn't run for more than 2 minutes. Like I ran for 2 minutes and I was done. I couldn't do anything else because the strain that you put on your upper body and your lower body is insane.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
Actually took the path that you didn't want to take. So I'm in the kind of the same timeline as you were. I kind of stopped playing around 1920 just because I was approaching this point where you literally can't go anywhere with football, at least in Canada. I was
Yeah.
playing for a very good team in Windsor, in my city, and we were playing all the best teams in Ontario. And you're 100% right. It gets so draining because you have a tournament like every other week,
Yeah.
right? You have to travel to somewhere in Michigan, somewhere in, I don't know, Toronto, wherever. That becomes one, expensive, and two, like that's a massive drain on your parents. Like they have to travel with you. You're like 15, 16, and it just became like it turned something that you really love into something that becomes almost
A
like
chore.
tedious, a chore. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I loved playing the sport. If I wanted to play, I could just go to the fields around me. Like I have like 6 different ones around me. I could just go to them. I didn't feel like I needed to join a club to enjoy the sport. As long as I got to kick the ball at the net, I honestly don't care, right? So, yeah, I just didn't want to put the strain on my parents in regards to them bringing me to certain games. So it just didn't make sense at the time for me to do anything like that.
Right. Right. Where's the love for Portugal or national team rank on your things? So FIFA, football, all that stuff.
I mean, it's my ethnic background, obviously, but I grew up watching the Liga NOS and the Premier League so much. Like it's both of those leagues are a big part of my life. So it's just I don't know, man. Just watching Portugal when you're younger, it's just the most like it's the
There's
best
nothing
feeling.
quite
There's
like it. There's
nothing
nothing
com-
quite like it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I've lived in Canada my entire life, but like when you watch a country that literally bleeds the sport, like Brazil, Argentina, Portugal, like people bleed the sport. It's such a different feeling. Like if I watch Canada play, like they bleed the sport if it's like hockey or something, right? But if it's like football, it's not really the same. So I don't know, man. Just you share that passion with the players on the pitch as you're watching the game, and then it becomes like this hugely influential thing in your life. And yeah, man, the love for Portugal just comes honestly just from my ethnic background. Just people, it's just everything is background stuff, man. It's just what where the area you live in, your surroundings, who likes Porto, Benfica, or Sporting. The rivalries between it. Like
Yeah,
it's a
there's
lot of
so
different
much.
stuff.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. What was the city your parents came from? In Portugal somewhere?
So my ethnic background is Açores. So it's Açores, São Miguel. So Portugal is basically the main island. That's the continent, right? Açores is the left side of Portugal, like those islands to the islands to the left side. Um, and we do have teams in that area, but those teams were super irrelevant when I was younger and when my parents were younger, right? Like they were obviously the main teams during that time, but they weren't like too relevant. So when you're Portuguese and you're living in Canada, you will most likely choose the top three teams. It's either going to be Sporting, Benfica, or Porto. Had I have known that Santa Clara existed at that time, I would have probably chosen Santa Clara, which is the team that looks like their logo looks like Benfica's logo. They're the ones that are actually from São Miguel dos Açores, but they're still from a part of Portugal that I'm not from. They're from Punta Delgada, but my parents are from.
Oh, okay, I know where Punta Delgada is. Okay,
Yeah,
that's a beautiful island. Wow,
it is.
yeah.
It's a gorgeous island, but we're from Hot Peixe, so that's why that's the difference between. But supporting Santa Clara is the same thing as me living in the GTA or me living downtown in Toronto. It's the exact same thing. It's like a 10-minute ride from different places. So, but yeah, that's where that initial love came from.
Awesome, dude. Believe it or not, we've actually gone through 45 minutes. I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. I wish you all the best with your future content. Tell the people where they can follow you, subscribe.
You guys can follow me at Inception FC for most socials and Inception XX on Twitch, and be sure to you guys watch Nelly's content because his content has been amazing recently. So
you don't need to. Okay, I didn't pay him to do that. I didn't pay him to do that. I just want you guys to know
I gotta flick the wrist for him. I gotta flick the wrist.
All right, dude. Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, dude.
If you're wondering why Inception wasn't reacting to any of the clips, is because he specifically told me these clips trigger him and he didn't want to watch them as we talked, and it was kind of distracting. So I totally respected that. I just wanted to have him on as a guest, and I really wanted to learn a lot about his YouTube experience. So hopefully you guys got some enjoyment out of that, because I learned a lot and I really, really had a good time. Okay, my last guest is Italian Stallion. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him for, I don't know, is it 3-4 years now? He is a elite FIFA player. His dream was to become a professional FIFA player. So we talk about that journey. We talk about all kinds of other stuff. And I think it's equally as interesting. So I don't know what Joe Rogan does in these types of things. Give it up for my final guest, Italian Stallion. Play his outro music. All right, my final guest is Italian Stallion, a long friend of mine. We used to do a podcast together. How are you doing? Tell the people what you do.
Thanks for having me, dude. This takes me back to the very beginning when it was
so trippy.
Me, you, Foot FM, and other guests, obviously, or other hosts, sorry, on that podcast that shall remain unnamed for now.
Oh wow.
But yeah, like, what do I do? I don't know, man. I'm really not. I wouldn't say I'm a YouTuber or a streamer. Like, I think at one point you were definitely a YouTuber. You had that whole like daily content, daily stream going. I was never that way. I'm just a dude in like the FIFA community, and it started like with Twitter. Then I went to the podcast and Twitter, and then every now and then I'd release a random video that people would be like, "Yo, nice, bro. Thanks for exposing me." And now I also stream sometimes, and I just yeah, I do what I want. That's kind of the vibe we got right now.
But your main thing in life right now is working for a German company doing some tutorials. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, how do you forget about what your job is essentially?
Yeah, basically all that messing around on Twitter and YouTube and whatever had led to grabbing the attention of these German folks. They have like a tutorial channel on YouTube, and basically they hired me as one of the main dudes to make tutorials for them. So this year referring to like starting in September, because that's when FIFA 20 comes out, I've been making tutorials for these guys, and that's what I do.
It's fair to say you've played a lot of FIFA, so I'm really curious if you think you're going to see some bugs here that you've never seen before.
I hope so. I've already seen a couple that I haven't seen before, like at the very beginning, the guy running through a fence or some weird stuff like that. I think the main thing I've seen is just okay, yeah. Hello.
Right?
That's
you like
a classic.
That is a classic. This one, the game just freezes out and just like, I don't know, the system crashes, the matrix crashes.
Yeah, the skill games. Imagine some poor fella like just trying to learn how to cross and he encounters that.
Yeah. I guess the question is for you. You're kind of finishing up. Oh, this is Shaqiri, and this is a great one. What a save from Shaqiri.
What's he in goal? What?
I don't know.
What's
Yeah,
in goal?
there's so many of these that have almost no explanation. I gotta-
Oh, dude. Okay.
Okay, so as you're approaching the end of your time with the Germans, you know, these tutorials, what's the next thing? Are you thinking a little bit ahead what you want to do with YouTube? Because your big thing on YouTube was always like these very in-depth videos and analysis that are kind of rare to find. The problem with that is obviously it's a very hardcore audience. You know, you can only have so many people that are really interested in the very minute details that some of your videos go into.
Yeah, and like this is something that can play off into so many things, which we can get later on because it's like fascinating how something that people always criticize me for, aka overthinking, was actually my main strength in
Yeah.
terms of like
Right.
videos. But that aside, it is a niche, but like I said, the main strength is just overthinking everything. And because of how I overthink things, I can analyze really well because I've done it my whole life. So that can be translated into different things. So maybe the niche videos I made are one thing, but like I could easily transform that analytical ability into coaching videos and helping people improve. Hence why I also do tutorials and that's super hot. I've seen a lot of
Right.
channels. I think mainly the FIFA analyst grew a lot by being, this coach figure for the public, coaching videos, analyzing people's gameplay, telling people how to improve. The question is, do I want to do that? I'm not sure. I really, even the tutorials itself is kind of like contradictory that I want to do that because I don't want to make life harder for myself and tell people, my secrets. Like, why would I want to do
Right.
that?
Right.
So for the future, what do I want to do? I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, obviously, it's an option that I'll do another year of tutorials. We're in talks with the Germans. I mean, I feel like a football superstar renewing my contract. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Maybe I'll be a free agent. I don't know, dude. It really just depends on like what it is I'd be doing. I could remain with the Germans. I could ignore that. I could quit the FIFA scene altogether, and just stay as like as a figure that pops up randomly, intermittently. Who knows?
Right. I think I don't want to suck you off here too much, but your biggest strength for me at least is what I see is like when you really want to do something, when you're like super zeroed in and focused on it, you become very good at it. And I'm just talking about random stuff like even AoE. When we play AoE, I know you're learning all the time. Like you're already improving so quickly. So maybe like you just need to find something that you have like a similar passion for that you can just put that into. Because I know, remember when you were making those like kind of breaking down what's wrong with FIFA, what's wrong with passing, what's wrong with defending, auto assisting, all that stuff. Those were very like that was a very focused time. You were pumping out like a video a week, and every video was a banger.
Yeah, it was a banger, and like it was such raw content. Like it's just me clips, me scrolling through back and forth with a mouse. Super unprofessional, the lowest of the lowest video quality. It's kind of like going back to the origins of YouTube, right? It's all about the idea and what you're saying. People don't really care. So like, and then like my latest video on that was like super hot. It took me so much more time to make just because I went through the effort of making like a classic FIFA, or not FIFA, just YouTube style video. So like, yeah, I can improve in things. So it'd be ideal if I could find literally anything else, because I'm kind of like a diesel. A diesel, the expression is like you're a slow starter, but when you start, you're perfect. Like you're going. Like
Right.
it's the same anytime I make a video. Like starting it and getting through the initial phase of like actually doing it, it's a nightmare. But once I'm actually like working on it, I'm not stopping until it's over, sort of thing.
Right. I think we're kind of, I don't want to say similar vote in like the sense of like we don't know what to do, but there's like these peaks and valleys in YouTube. Like if you look at my like subscriber growth, it literally looks just like it's just triangles. It's like months of nothing and then months of just sporadic
Yeah.
boom. And in both of those highs and lows, I'm always like, what do I do next? Like what is this? And then I'm like, is this even what I want to be doing? Like maybe there's something better. And I don't know. I always get kind of trapped between two different paces. I have a thing in my room that has like 30 different ideas for videos. I'm like, which one do I do? Like, it's not a problem that I don't have ideas. It's just like, do I really want to do this at a core level? Because if I don't want to do it, it'll come into the video. You'll see like, maybe you won't hear it, but you'll just feel it. You'll be like, wait, this guy doesn't want to do this. He's putting on a show.
Yeah. I mean, you're like, remember when you said that one time you're me from the past? Because pretty much you're the same things for me. I just keep doing different things at different intervals, but I'm just like 5 or 6 phases behind, right? You went through like the classic YouTuber doing series and original content to like, and then you had the podcast, and then you kind of left, you came back, you started Nelly News, and oh no, before you started Nelly News, you were doing original content with the
Yeah, just doing random
captcha.
videos. Yeah.
The captcha one banging super hard, and then yeah, you just did so many things, and it's just like that's kind of how I liked it. I don't like as soon as I start saying, okay, I need to do a whole year of tutorials, a whole year of RTG videos. That's when I start getting like anxious. I'm like, I can't, I can't. I gotta do what I want when I want, sort of thing. But obviously, I'm not Nepenthes, so it's like if it's more of a hobby at that point. That's why I said I don't really think I'm like a YouTuber or a streamer. I just kind of do what I want.
Money would be more of a motivation for you, or no? Do you think if someone paid you, hey, here's $100,000 a year, I want you to make a Draft to Glory series, I want one video a day, do you think you could do something like that?
I mean, maybe, but that's why it's not a given that I'll be doing tutorials next year as well, because even though pay is decent and like it could increase as well for next year, it was really challenging for me this year doing that. I was making money. I was making more. Like, there's people calling themselves FIFA pros, and I was out salarying them, not playing FIFA professionally. But I mean, guess technically it is professional FIFA if you make. It's just a different type. You're not competing. You're just making FIFA videos. And even then, I was like, dude, like,
You were bringing in, though, what you were worth. I think, like, your
100%,
evaluation,
100%.
you were bringing these guys in exactly what they wanted. They're growing their audience, and they're probably making a certain amount back on you. They've invested in you, and their return, whatever, if it's 5, 10, 20%, it's paid off.
100%. I mean, the channel was at like 30K. Now it's almost at 100K now after, like, before and after me being there. Obviously, it's always easier to start on a 30K platform than 0. They did the hardest part, which is 0 to 30. But, like, at the same time, it doesn't just grow for no reason. Maybe it does. I don't know. For FIFA, who knows?
Who knows?
Essentially, the point was like that even when I was making, and I am still making the money, it's not like I'm challenging. It's challenging mentally and emotionally when I'm doing something that maybe I don't love so much at times. And that's once a week. So once a day, bro, I don't know, bro.
Yeah, right? It's a different beast, right? It becomes literally a job. It becomes like a desk job because it's like, 5 hours to edit or whatever. And then, rinse and repeat tomorrow again.
Yeah, and these videos were like, there were some videos that reached like 40 hours of work. Like people go to
it's
school
great.
for
People don't
40 or
understand that. They
35
don't
hours,
see that. Right.
And with how I work as well, I'm not the type of dude, okay, I'm going to work every day from 6 a.m. to noon. That's 6. No way, dude. One day I might work from like 6 a.m. until like 4 a.m. the next day because if I stop, I'm not starting again for like ages. I'm just that type of dude. I'm a train, bro. Once you turn me on, I'm either crashing or like, or you turn me off. Like there's no in between.
I think that this was an interesting topic because I don't know if you've seen Kurt's latest video.
Oh yeah, I've seen
about
it.
his update, and it was really interesting to see. Like there were so many people talking about, this guy's still playing PES and he's averaging, like 2,000, 3,000 viewers, whatever, and he's making a good living. And everyone's like, well, he's definitely gonna keep doing that. That's easy money. But it's like not everyone is like motivated the same way. That guy could make a very good living, and he's just like, I don't enjoy PES. I don't enjoy streaming this. Like I don't want to do it. Which is very rare in the FIFA community because most people, when they get something that works, they'll run that thing into the grave. They'll do it till they hate themselves, their wife, their children. They'll keep doing it if it's profitable,
I think Kurt was that type of dude for FIFA because the fact that he was playing daily on FIFA, despite FIFA being the pile of garbage that it is, and I know he knows he hates it. Like he hates it, but I have a feeling that when you log on and there's like at least 5K people watching you, you have like you're willing. It excites you. You make a storyline every day. You have new challenges. You have these people that watch and care. And from my perspective, I was like, dude, if I had to stream every day PES and I'd get 1 to 2K, I would do it. But that's the thing. Everyone's got their own expectations, and he had a taste of 17K with PES viewers. That's what he got to start. So once he was at 1, 2, 3K with PES, that's still phenomenal numbers, bro. That's incredible.
Insane with PES. It's so insane. There's no one even that's close to that, right? Next guy's like 100 views, 200 views.
And it's not enough, dude. 1,000 viewers on COD is cracked. Like, 1,000 views on FIFA is insane. He had that for PES. So for most people, that's enough to play PES and never play FIFA again. But like, I think, and maybe he'll say that even if he had 20K, he wouldn't, and we'll never know. It's hearsay. But like, I think that if he would have stayed at 20K a day, which is unreal, I think he would have lasted longer on PES.
But I think once again, I don't think he would have lasted for the same reason. I think he would have lasted more in the sense that he's making progress in like the movement, where it's like trying to get FIFA back to a better play. I don't think he's like, oh, I'm gonna stay in PES forever. Like even if he was killing it, even if he was like beating Castro every day, I think at the end of the day, unless PES became like an amazing game, which maybe it could happen, but I think the ultimate goal still would have been like, hey, this is all because like you guys are choosing not to improve FIFA and you're not making FIFA better, and you should rightfully so be punished with like less monetary profit.
Yeah, and plus if he would have kept those numbers, you could have made the point that he could have gotten unbanned faster. FIFA would have been better, and then end game he's back on FIFA and playing a game he likes, or maybe PES becomes insane. Like who knows?
Yeah.
Either way, I think keeping the 20K was the key a day for everything, because it would have kept him going. It would have made changes. But he didn't, because it's just how it goes, and it was kind of obvious. I mean, hell, he could stream COD every day on Fortnite and get like a K or 500, 800. But that's the thing, like his love was FIFA. He's good at that game, and I can relate to that. Like I play Age of Empires, and it's a healthy balance because like me and you, we log on every now and then, and we play. But like if we need a break, we'll take a break, and that will make sure we never get bored of it. But like if you're forced to play AoE every day and you're ass, and like you're not improving as fast as you want, I could see myself, having a tough time streaming it every day. So I think that's where it came for him, because he was nowhere near as good as PES as he was in FIFA as well.
You did, bring up subtly. I know some people might not have heard it, but you said what it feels like to get thousands of viewers. I don't know. I can't remember if you did want to talk about this, about your previous stream thing. If you don't, it's fine, but you did.
Yeah, we could talk about it.
Yeah, all right. This is the thing. I haven't talked to Inception yet, but I will. I've talked about everyone's past. Like I talk about JCC and how he's like 5'8". For people that don't know, he's really short.
Why is that relevant?
I'm just saying I've talked about their past and these random things. Like it's been fun stuff. Like he used to support Man United and then he supported Fulham. About all these random, like he used to have this thing with Darren Bent. Anyways, I want to know about the streaming career. You only told me briefly about what life was like when you were streaming this other thing.
Yeah, basically there was this period, right? And it coincided with me taking a break from FIFA, partly because, before I went into FIFA, Twitter, and YouTube, I was still cracked out compared to the average user, still Division 1 player, right? I was just naturally better than everyone at FIFA. Like I was the guy that every time you went to a party, is like, you won't beat him at FIFA. And then the guy who's hosting is like, no, I can. And then they play me and I destroy them, right? Right? And then obviously you go into Twitter and like there's tons of people at your level, so you have to try a little bit more. But anyways, FIFA 16, I hated that game so much, although it is better than 19 and 20, sure, whatever. I didn't like it. And it was my last year of uni. I was like, I'm really busy with work, and if I want to play games, somehow, I don't know how it ended up, I started playing mobile games, okay? Maybe time between lectures, people in my course played it. I played this game called Clash of Clans, right? Massive. The biggest, it's not even close. Supercell company literally is I don't even know what company in video games is that. Just massive. They
EA?
make billions, bro.
Are they
even more, dude?
EA? Really?
Bigger in terms of, dude, they're mobile. It's unprecedented. Like Clash of Clans, then now Clash Royale is like the perfect game. I remember I was streaming when I was like into my streaming and as that came out, and I remember I was like playing the beta. That game was massive. And
was it still pay to win at the beginning of that game? Sorry to interrupt, but I can't remember. Like, were you there for the early days?
It's day like, one, bro.
With
day
microtransactions?
100%. But
by the way, look at this bug. By the way, look at this bug just for a moment.
Oh no! What? What?
Right.
Hey,
wait.
His face.
His face. Wait, and then the ref calls a PK, and it just teleports to a PK.
Tell me he scores. Please score.
And then this guy gets it again. This guy.
It's the same dude.
Same poor guy. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, go back to the Clash of Clans.
Yeah, there was microtransactions, and that community really doesn't like the whole micro. Look, for Clash of Clans, it was different because it wasn't really a competitive game. There was this thing called Clan Wars, but it was different, right? You have your village. It was just more a grinding game. You improve your village. Yes, you have Clan Wars, but it was a different type of pay to win, not like esportish pay to win sort of thing. Whereas Clash Royale is actually like an esport game, a decent esport game. I think, I don't know.
It
It's
is
been
really.
ages.
I thought all those games were microtrans. This is actually like a
It's a
fairly
card.
competitive.
It's a real time like card game, right? But like it's crazy. No, but it's a 1v1 competitive game, like
Wow.
Clash Royale. But you use card, and to level up cards, you need to open chests. You buy chests with gems. You buy gems, right? So it's like,
Yeah, of course. Yep.
and you have to max out your deck, and it takes so much money. But you can organize competitive matches where you level out to a degree. I don't know. I don't remember exactly the details. Maybe they changed it, but there was some sort of way you can invite someone, and like, it doesn't matter if you have a maxed out deck. We're all playing on this level of deck. So it's like, if you didn't max your deck out, you're good. If you did max your deck out, you're not gonna have an advantage. You're all having like level 8 cards, whatever. So they did way more of an effort, I think, to balance it out. But I'm sure it's still like a massive issue. That being said, I streamed that game. I loved it at first, and then I was growing rapidly on this new platform. It wasn't Twitch where I was streaming. All the Clash of Clans YouTubers went on this platform for some reason. I streamed one day, and I was so early on in the game that I grew. I was like a partner on that website, like the equivalent. Getting verified
Do you
Twitch.
remember the website?
No, dude, it was so long ago, and like,
How
at
old
the
were
end
you
of
at the time? You were pretty young then.
I mean, young, I guess. I was like, what, 20, 19, 20,
Wow.
I guess. I don't know. Either way. And Clash of Clans got boring. Then Clash Royale came out. It was like the new spark, and I streamed that for a while. And then my exams came, and I lost consistency, and like I just got bored of it. I was like, I don't care, man. It wasn't like, I think I didn't have as many friends in that community as I did in the FIFA community. Like in this FIFA community, I met so many. I mean, I met you in real life. So many other people that I met. So it's like I couldn't, even if I stopped playing FIFA, I think I'd always like be active on Twitter. You know? It was different, but like I knew what it felt like, and I could have become a big quote unquote mobile gaming guy, but I wasn't there for the mobile gaming. I was there for Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, and then that love dissipated, and I went back to FIFA, not as just to playing FIFA. And then I discovered, the only reason I discovered the FIFA Twitter community was because I was initially in the mobile gaming Twitter community,
Right.
and I was like, let me see if there's a FIFA one, and there was.
Right. Your original goal going into FIFA was to eventually play competitive FIFA. Is that correct?
Yeah, all I really wanted was, I didn't give a crap about having a pro contract, playing for it. I just wanted to qualify for an event, right? That was my dream. And I did a little bit. I qualified for a big local event in Italy, but Italy being Italy, that tournament got canceled. It was like weird, shady things going on. And I was
Right.
upset because all the best pros were there for the Italian players, like the Principes and all that. And then me. I was there too. And there was only like 6 or 7 people qualified. It was a mini tournament. It would have been awesome, but I canceled it. Unlucky. And then that was it, because I started playing FIFA 17 late, right? Because I bought it, like, didn't buy on release. I was coming from Royale, and I didn't have time to do the normal qualifiers. I had to learn the game, for God's sake. You know what I mean? Like, I hadn't played
Yeah,
FIFA
you were
in
getting
ages.
lessons. You were getting coaching lessons. That's how we. That's how you met.
Yeah, bro.
Pop, and that's how we got into our little show.
Yeah. Exactly. And it was too little too late, and then naive little Stallion thought, oh, okay, I'll try in FIFA 18. And then the game was like so bad. And I was like, what is this? I loved FIFA 17's concept. It was so many issues, but the foundation, you know? And then FIFA 18, and it gets worse and worse, and that dream just dissipates, because even though every year I'm closer and closer, every year I give up earlier and earlier because I just hate the game.
Yes, I'm not in the same boat in the sense, like, I'm not as good as you. For people that don't know, you finished top 100 in the world many times, but I'm in the boat where I'm doing better with YouTube, but at the same time the game has never been worse. So like I'm really disappointed, because ultimately when I did set out to make a channel, I wanted to make FIFA content. I liked football. I liked making random like Road to Glory series. And then as the game progressively got worse, I always try to expand into like, all right, let's make it like some comedy videos about the community, or let's make some news videos about the community, whatever it may be. But you actually got to basically the highest point you could. You've reached top 100 in the world, and a game continued to get worse. Like, where do you go from there?
Yeah, it's tough, bro. I think low key, like I think you would enjoy competitive as well if you like the game. I think the FIFA 16 tournament you played was a testament of that, right? If you had like some NA sort of stuff, I'm sure if you love the game, you'd go for it. Why not? And then
100%. If I got
you
paid for it too, if I was a living, like yeah, of course, let's do it. Let's play competitive FIFA. That's
yeah.
fun.
The massive problem is the game is
The
so
game
bad.
sucks. Yeah, right.
It's like no way. Like you're definitely not gonna try. And then I tried a little bit, even if I didn't like it. And I was super close to qualify to an event in like the closest I've been was like in 19 at the very beginning. And there, what like I remember, like I was, you know, I did really well in the Swiss format, and like I was beating top pros. And then as soon as I beat a top pro to go like 3-0 in Swiss, and his team was like 10 million coins, and mine was 1 million coins. And then the game for 4-0, I was playing an even better pro with an even better team, and that's when it all went downhill. And I was like, dude, like, what is this? Like, I
It's
can't.
so
man.
crazy that there's that much pay to win, even up until that point. It's not until you get to one of these events where everyone has access to every team. It's pay to win until that point, right? Like you have to build a team.
Yeah, they get like 2, 3, 5 grand. I don't know how many from their club, and I'm like, okay, I can afford spending 2K, but like, no, thank you. You know,
Right.
I'm
right.
good. I don't want to. I'd rather not. I'll buy my dog some treats or something. I don't know, dude. I'm not. I'm not just putting coins for virtual cards that in a game that I hate. And no way, man.
No
No
way.
way, bro. No.
Do you have any so back I don't want to I kind of talked about the earlier stream stuff you were doing. Do you have any regrets with how that turned out, the mobile gaming scene, if you stuck around with that a bit more? Could have been a
I don't.
millionaire or something.
I don't regret leaving. I don't. I don't regret leaving at all because at the end of the day, I kept my Twitter account, right? And by the time I remember when I joined the FIFA game Twitter community, people would follow me only because I had like 500 followers from the Clash of Clans times in Twitter. So slowly, like I stayed at 500 forever because the more I tweet about FIFA, the more FIFA people followed me, but the more Clash of Clans people unfollowed me, right? So I had to like rinse
Right.
it out, and then I could
You were
finally go.
transitioning.
Yeah. The transition, I don't regret it because say I grinded Clash or mobile till I got like 50K, 100K subs. There's no way when I post a FIFA video, people are gonna watch me. No way. No.
Yeah, there's no way
You're
out. That's the
talking
big
about-
yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're talking about kids, bro. These are kids. The demographic. You think people make fun of like big Twitch streamers on FIFA for kids? No. Kids are those who play mobile games, bro. That's the real kids. I would have had a bunch of kids who only have an iPad and be like, "What the hell is this FIFA video? Like what?" You know. So
That's the biggest scare. Like that's kind of like for me the scariest part I think about YouTube is because they've set these like algorithms in place where like they just want you to do one thing and one thing that's doing well, and understandably so. They want the videos that I'm making to have the best views because that gets them the most ad revenue. That makes sense. But like to not notify subscribers when you upload a different kind of video, that's so shady to me.
yeah,
You
everything.
literally it cements you into one field, kind of.
Yeah, and with YouTube, I know nothing compared to you because I remember you talking about this stuff when we were doing the podcast, and I wasn't uploading on YouTube, right? And I'm slowly discovering it now. I'm just seeing weird trends, like sometimes videos do bad, sometimes videos do good. So like it would have been impossible. Like I don't regret anything about leaving that. The only thing I regret maybe is I don't know. I think I could have done more earlier in terms of creating content on FIFA. But I was too naive thinking it can only get better from FIFA 17 because it did look like EA was trying to do this whole FUT Champions thing properly, right? But I was too naive. So I took it for I was like, there's no way 18 will be worse than 17.
And there's no way 18 or 19 will be worse than 18, and there's no way 19
Yeah,
or 20
yeah.
will be worse than 19, and it just kept getting
It's
worse.
yeah, so I should have capitalized earlier, and then, but then even then I'd be here hating the game. So I don't know, dude.
There's no
End of
win.
the day,
It's a lose-lose.
it is what it is.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lose-lose.
Everyone's a genius in hindsight. So
Do you think FIFA is going to get delayed this year? We've always said like, well, this FIFA can't get much worse, and we've always been surprised by how bad it can get. So what does a game look like when it's either rushed or delayed, or like they don't have the full staff to work on it? Like what you're seeing before you right now, is 600 plus different glitches and bugs and all these problems. And this is with a full capacity, with a full studio, with everybody working around the clock to make this thing work. What kind of product do we get in September with people, understandably worrying about their livelihood and, this pandemic?
Lewandowski in the crowd.
Right? Yeah, you know what I mean?
I mean, if you want to know what does a game look like when you're fighting for time and stuff, I mean, FIFA 19 is the answer, right? Because that game was also, in my opinion, heavily impacted by the World Cup mode in 18, which took time away. And we get again, I know a lot of people, there are people who preferred or had more fun playing 19 than 20, but if we're talking glitches, right? Not fun factor. 19 is the worst by far because the things that were happening on that field, there's no, like, as much as you, not me, like you, the listener, might not like FIFA devs, there's no way they intended for you to be able to do 60 croquetas in a row and El Tornadoes and that. That was not intent. That was like a mistake. Like that could, the 180 no scopes, like that's what a game looks like. So imagine FIFA 19 for 21, but worse is that's where I would be like, maybe they surprise us and it's a great game. But that's where I'm thinking.
Don't even say that to people. I've been always like very cautious of how I speak about these things because I know if you have 1,000 people listening and you say to one person, well, the game might be good, or you say to 1,000 people, well, the game might be good. There's one dude that took that as, oh, the game's gonna be great. Nelly says it's gonna be great. They're gonna buy it. Look at this. That was great. That was fucking amazing.
I mean, with those type of people, I could literally say anything. I could say beef, and he'll call PETA on me or something, and they're like, he should be vegan or some weird thing. But like, it might be good, right? But I'm telling people, expect something worse than 19, right? It's just in terms of glitches, because I don't know how they can even code a game all from home. I don't know, dude. I don't work there. I wouldn't know, but like, again, coronavirus, COVID, whatever. It screws.
Thanks. Now this video is demonetized. Thanks, Stallion. I appreciate it. You say that, and the whole video is demonetized. So thank you, dude.
Just make a note now and bleep it. That should not be named. The reason we're all at home, it's screwed everyone, and I'm sure FIFA 21 will pay the price in some way, shape, or form.
Right. So, well, now you're in a tricky position because now, as your contract is expiring, the game is progressively worse, trying to decide what to do next. Do you think there's another passion that you might have for other kinds of content that you enjoy? I'm going to keep pushing AoE because I feel like I could be your coach when you become a millionaire for AoE 4, but I know that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Come on, let's be honest. AoE 2 is a very good game that's been out for decades. Like, the ground I'd have to catch up.
Yeah.
Bro, like
no chance.
It's just,
these guys are playing 8 hours a day of strategy games where like they're actually getting better by playing it. You're playing 8 hours of FIFA a day where it's like you've already learned something. You've already learned everything you can in the first like 3 days of this game, and you just have to rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the point where I'm at my best when I don't play FIFA for weeks because I'm less angry, right? Imagine that. You're better when your muscle memory is like shaky because your mental creativity is there. That's how little's going on in the field. You need that mental creativity, and if you do see the same thing happen 1,000 times, you go crazy, and that's what happens. That's why I'm best. I'm gonna take a break.
What about other kinds of types of FIFA? Pro clubs, career mode. I know JCC was very adamant about pro clubs being so fun when you're playing with other people, and it's not even really about the game. It's more about like fun with the boys. It's kind of like us when we play AoE.
Yeah. I mean,
consider
look,
any of that.
I love what he's doing for pro clubs and everything, and at the end of the day, people like what they like. I love pro clubs, and I've played a lot of pro clubs not compared to JCC, but like an average gamer, so I know my way around pro clubs and how it works and everything. But even then, that mode is so bad and like underutilized that I don't like it. I've much preferred PES's version of like 2v2, 3v3, not with like pro clubs where someone's the any and you only select one player. I think co-op is a lot more fun if you had like a proper mode that you and your friend could suffer through. Like co-op Foot Champs, I know Foot Champs is hated by a lot of people, but like suffering through it with someone else, I think would make it like really cool, in my opinion.
Right. Suffering with someone else, is that what you just said? I want to make sure I heard that.
Well, that because no one's enjoying Foot Champs. If you are, I'm scared of you. But like,
right. Oh,
going
there's a
through
guy that said,
something.
oh, remember, yeah, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt this. There was a
Go for
guy
it.
on Twitter that said, I was having a debate with some random dude, I forgot what it was, and he's like, oh, I don't get mad if I win. Wait. So you're telling me, no matter what happens for 89 minutes of this thing that you're playing, if the final product is you winning, you're happy, you're not upset, you're not going into the next game upset. It's like watching a movie that sucks for 120 minutes or 119 minutes, and then that last minute, well, you know what? They really button up that ending. I love it. You know, how do these
Yeah.
people exist? I don't understand.
I'm not. I mean, this is not news. It makes sense. Otherwise, we wouldn't have people playing the way they do, dropping back, overloaded balls, all these just slimy tactics all over the field. Because all they care about is the end result. They don't care how they get there. They just need to win, bro. They just need to win, and that's
Right.
what gets them the wins. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I just know it exists. I'm not surprised by its existence. That's the problem. People just want to win, bro. And it's like, I wish I would be happy if I won because I win most of my games, bro. But like after a win, I'd be like, there was no way I should have suffered that much, or it should have been
Right,
like that. Like, what am I seeing?
Right. Yeah, the big thing I also want to talk about is FIFA becoming less and less representative of actual football, because it's very clear that EA is trying to push this realism thing a lot with, you know, the graphics and whatever, all the stuff they're doing. But it seems like the gameplay wise is farther and farther away from what actually is football.
It's 100%, in my opinion, less and less representative of real life. The only thing, like, if you take FIFA 10 and FIFA 20 and you put them side by side, obviously most people are going to say FIFA 20 looks more like realistic football. But that's because of how slow everyone moves, people's faces, the stadiums, the graphics. But if you actually look at the philosophy around, like, the mechanics and everything, FIFA 20 is a game where 11 individuals, nobody moves or makes a good run for you offensively. That's not realistic. FIFA 20 is a game where you don't lose stamina for doing a defensive masterclass Costa Rica style from the 2014 World Cup, you know, where they did park the bus, right? But if you're going to park the bus against a team like Barcelona or a team better than you, you're going to have to outrun people. Like, I remember every time Italy played Spain, Roma played Barca, these kind of things, you know, they played this possession style. You know, leading up to the game, everyone knew that if you're going to have a chance, not only you're going to have to defend well, but you're going to have to outrun them, because even though you're not going to touch the ball, you're going to be deep, right? And you're going to park the bus, and it's going to be hard to do that. But
And you have to do it for 90 minutes, and you have to have no mental lapses for 90 minutes. Like, you have to be on that level of alertness the whole game.
Yeah, and that doesn't cause a stamina drain. It's super easy. Like, to park the bus in FIFA is giving you security. You're making life harder for your opponent. But if you have a difference between, like, in real life, if you're as good as Barca or Spain, even a team as good as Italy was at the time is going to struggle to defend and park the bus for 90 minutes. It's a Hail Mary tactic, but it's all they can do. Whereas in FIFA, you can be as good as Barcelona, but someone as good as Andorra will, you know, relative to Barcelona
I love
or
these
Spain,
metaphors. Fantastic, Andorra. Name these
they will be as good or better than Italy was in real life at doing that tactic. So, like, it makes someone so much worse than you be able to, like, defend so well. Hence why, if you score the first, like, when I score the first goal and then a second one, that 2-0, 1-0 turns into a 6-7-0, because sometimes they just stay on drop back, but the smart
Right.
ones who try and attack, they get obliterated because they don't know what they're doing.
Okay, now, so if FIFA is becoming, you know, less and less representative football, I think we would both agree that that would be okay if the game was balanced and fun. Like, I said this in one of my earlier videos, like, a couple days ago. PES, like 2006, I was fully aware that this is not a representation of football, but I didn't care. The game was fun. It was, like, balanced. There was a strategy to it. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Would you be okay with the game being less realistic if it was enjoyable?
Mm-hmm. But it's a dangerous subject because a lot of people use that argument pro FIFA 19, say, see, FIFA 19 was unrealistic, but it had a skill gap because, you know, you could Il Tornado someone, or you do a first time long shot from 60 yards out, right? So that's a dangerous subject. At the end of the day, I think there's reasonable aspects of the game that should be OP every single year and shouldn't be OP every single year. And, that's just my opinion, the irony overall is that the more of the game has been attempted to represent real life, the more boring it has gotten, the more stale it has gotten, the less fun it has gotten. And that's just how it is, right? So I don't care if it's balanced and fair and like not unfair, I think I would enjoy it. Like, I don't care about realism. I have 6 minutes a half, You want to have FIFA the way it is now, I need 90 minutes. I need 90 minutes.
That's one thing we always talk about. I think Kurt always says it as well, is like, you only have this amount of time in like in FIFA as opposed to real life. You have 45 minutes a half to break down a defender. You can't recreate that in a video game. No one's going to play 45 and a halves,
Yeah, that's why the competitive setup right now, if you play competitive, it's all about hoarding possession, because you have to hoard possession until you get the same pass into the striker where you then turn and shoot. And that only happens every so often. So you'll get max like a couple of those per game, if assuming the opponent's defending as well. And then you play for that. That's it. And this is boring. I'm not saying I need 9 goals a game. Quite the contrary, because FIFA 18 was ludicrous just because it'd be like 7-5 scorelines. But like, you can't give me a run every 3 seconds. You can't have everyone stand still for 3 seconds. Like, what am I saying? I need movement. Everybody's got to be moving,
Right. This is another thing I want to talk about. Pro scene. You've been in the pro scene. You've played in some of these qualifiers and stuff like that. And you obviously heard all the news going around the pro scene. Does FIFA probably have the worst pro scene in any video game, or have you seen worse?
I mean, hard to say, man. I see the Fortnite pros, and a lot of them look like really toxic, but maybe they're joking. I don't know. I've never been in another pro scene. By the way, I just want to clarify that, yes, I have been in the pro scene, but like, I acknowledge the fact that not having qualified, I'm like San Marino, but San Marino still plays qualifiers for the World Cup. So there you have it,
Yeah, actually, I do actually appreciate you making that distinction, because you'll have dudes on Twitter with like 30 followers who are like pro competitive player. It's like, oh yeah, what did you do? Like,
Yeah,
I didn't
nothing.
really do anything. I played online in Weekend League. I'm like, okay, that doesn't make you a pro. Like, earn that title,
Yeah. And either way, I mean, it doesn't really matter what even is a pro. At the end of the day, these guys are qualifying, so these guys won't, and there's a bunch of reasons why and why not. But the point is, I'm in the circuit. I'm eligible to be in the circuit. I've qualified. I've done all the necessary things to earn myself the right, the same way San Marino does, to play and lose 8-0 against Germany, but I don't lose 8-0. So maybe I'm like Andorra. I don't know, a little better.
Maybe you are Andorra, yeah.
But the point
is, look at this. This is a goal that happened in the.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Do you remember this?
I remember this. Yeah,
he
yeah.
won this tournament in the 80th minute from a glitched game.
Mm-hmm.
And he learned that move earlier that day. He asked Bateson about that move a day before or that morning.
Yeah. That's why the pro scene is such a fraudulent area. At the end of the day, I don't know, because I've never been as good as I am in FIFA and other games to be in the pro circuit. So I don't know. All I can say is that the FIFA pro scene, there's a lot of great guys that I've met, but there's also a lot of like weird, stuck up, ego fragile weirdos, and like I just can't stand the way they think and like their opinions. But it is what it is. We all have our opinions, and it doesn't matter because none of our opinions matter. EA will do what they want, and so it doesn't really matter if they start preaching that 19 should be the foundation of every other pro game or game, right? Because at the end of the day, they won't listen to that. So they won't listen to me. They won't listen to that. We're all just saying our opinion. But yeah, it's pretty toxic. I'm not a big fan, but I wouldn't know enough to know if it's worse elsewhere.
I think it's a good transition into the kind of big final topic, the Grandioso. By the way, the last clip I have saved for you, you're going to really enjoy. We're going to talk about that. The big question is, I think most people that watch like this video or the FIFA job video are always asking like, okay, what can we do? And the answer is like, you can't really do anything, but we can talk about hypotheticals. We can talk about what would need to happen for EA to fix its ways. I think we can both agree microtransactions would need to be removed.
Yeah, I mean, no one's telling you not to buy the game. buy it. Just stop buying FIFA points, please. Like at the end of the day, it's your money. Do what you want, but like if you want change, don't buy FIFA points. Okay,
Yeah,
you
you
don't have
can't
to
be a
go
hypocrite in
do
that sense, right?
RTGs, do a Road to Glories, blah blah blah, and things will change. That's what they make. It doesn't matter if you don't buy FIFA. You can buy FIFA and not buy FIFA points, and you'll make more of an impact than if you don't buy FIFA at all, in my opinion. Because then they'll be like, "What's wrong? People are buying it, but why is no one buying it more than they should?" Well, maybe because the gameplay is awful. There you go. But then you have people who like it, and it's like a lost cause. So
Right, then those are the worst. Yeah, I think this year I'm actually, or the upcoming year, I'm not gonna buy FIFA. I'm gonna see if I can borrow a copy, give it my honest review, which I can't imagine will be anything higher than this year, and then not play it again.
here's a question for you though: what if next FIFA is actually insanely fun? Are you buying it?
If it's fun, I am the biggest beneficiary of this game being good. I think a lot of people think I have like this agenda against EA, or I hate everything they do, or I want this game to be bad. Dude, if this game is great, I can go back to making content. Like I upload
Yeah,
one video a
same.
week that's news. Are you kidding? Like if I could upload 6 videos a week and if I have new people coming to a video game, my audience is going to grow infinitely. Like, you know what I mean? Now I can actually
Yeah.
I would be able to start making content with a pretty developed audience. You know, like I would be the biggest beneficiary of this game being good. Yeah, right? Back in the day, I used to do all these kinds of random challenges. I'd bring that back. If the game was like based on skill and it wasn't all pay to win, dude, I had so much fun in 17. I was playing with like a weekend league with a Serbian team and averaging elite. Like that was like, to me, I could do that all day, every day. And
Yeah.
that game had massive problems, of course, connection being one of the biggest ones, but it was not nearly the pile of garbage we see before us today.
Pretty much.
We have 3 clips left here. The last one is very long. I guess.
Look at the shush.
Let's shush too. Oh my goodness! Look at this. What is happening? It's like I wish there was like symphony orchestra music playing as we kind of go to the outro.
Yeah.
Where can people follow you? What do you do? Just self promo before we jump into the final clip here.
At Stallion Sam on Twitter, and then from there you'll find pretty much everything: Twitch, YouTube. But that's my handle usually online.
Perfect. And then we're gonna start an AOE channel soon, so wait for that.
Hell yeah, baby.
All right, this last clip I think I've shown you before. I think I was talking to JCC about it earlier. No, this is pretty funny. No, this isn't it. There's one. Okay, this one.
No.
This one. Okay, so it's a penalty shootout. Yeah, okay, it's normal. Everything seems okay for now. That was questionable.
Oh yeah, okay.
All right. 2-0. This guy's looking pretty good.
There we have it.
I mean, he's going to win it. There's no doubt about it at this point. Whatever. Yep. Okay, so.
3-0. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. What's going to happen? I'm scared, bro.
I know, right? Squad battles.
Oh my god, it is squad battle. They cheat. You know where you're shooting at.
All right. Okay. Very cool. He won that. Mm-hmm. Oh.
No.
If the game froze, it wouldn't be that bad. I think it would still end in the result, right? Because the game was already over. But it's actually worse.
The crowd's moving.
The crowd, right? So that's why, like, I don't know if people think I froze this video, but I didn't. The video's still going. The game is still
so
live
weird.
right now. But wait, it gets weirder. It clicks the menu. Yep, confirm that he's 1-4-1. Oh, we're back in the penalty shootout. 100.
No. He's doing it again.
He's relived his worst nightmare, and he loses it. He loses. It's one penalty. It was the final penalty of the game in the 120th minute for some reason. The game ends, and he loses 1-0.
Oh no!
Yeah.
What? I thought they just went back to the shootout.
No. One penalty.
But it says he's won. It says he's won in brackets, but he lost to 1-0. No.
Yup.
Oh no.
Yup. All right, dude. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for coming by. And
thanks for having me, dude.
Peace.